Fellas, what it do? How y'all doing out there?
Yeah.
AG, how are
What?
you, sir? Is that a juicy juice? Is that how we're starting off the show?
Yo,
It is a
yo,
juicy
yo,
juice.
pardon me. After this, I gotta pack my kids' lunches for school tomorrow. Pardon me.
You got the juicy juice. Yo, Cam got everybody bugging out here, man.
So,
Yo, it's better
food
the
snack.
juicy juice than it's better drinking that juicy juice than getting a horsepower taking your kids to school. That's a bad combination.
Man, it's life. It's life. You know what I mean?
Such is life. Such is life.
Freaky. Harlem. Nah, let me quit.
Yo, they're gonna learn messing with Cam. This is what happens, man. I support it. I support it all day long. I love it. I love it.
Are you
Yo,
finished?
I'm
You
gonna
good?
finish this juice box and these fruit snacks though. Don't get
I
it
bet
twisted.
you are.
Yo,
Are you taking from the kids in the house? Have you been
huh?
stealing from the kids? You've been stealing from the kids in the house?
Oh, all the time. All the time. Yo, Dad, we can't figure out where this is at. Yo, I don't even know what happened to it. You know what I mean?
Oh, and you lie about it.
Hey,
that is
if I pay
crazy.
for it, then I can lie about it. You know?
Petty
That
level
is
is very
crazy.
high. Yeah, it's crazy.
Stealing the juicy
Yo,
juices is crazy, man.
yo,
Taking the kids' juicy juice is a little wild. You don't think you're a
It's a
little out of
little
line?
I'm always out of line, Coop.
just a little,
Always.
oh wait,
I
just a
But
don't know
what's
little
which
good?
bit.
one of you is gonna be. I don't know which one of you is gonna be like week to week. I'm starting to feel like the stable one.
That might be true.
Yeah, that's about it.
That
I
might be
got to
true.
tone it. I'm in a hotel right now. So I got to tone it down. So I let AG have
I
all of
mean,
this
you
this week. I got to play
you
it
might as
cool.
well be a rapper, Sean. You live on the road, my G.
Bruh. It's the fifth
You might
week
as
in a
well
row.
you might as well get
Fifth
on the
week in a
tour
row.
bus and you might as well get on the tour bus and get with some of those guys and have them pay you.
Facts. Hip hop talks on world tour. It's like 5 weeks in a row right now. I'm tired, but it's all good though. I'm here for the culture. It's all good. Man of the people, not above for equal.
Yes, sir.
Yo, so cool. How you feeling out there, man? Busy week for you too.
Always busy. You know what I mean? Like you want to know what it is like I'm addicted to the grind, man. Like I love the work.
No doubt.
I love the people. I got a lot of love for people in general. You know what I'm saying? Especially my people. I feel like we got a
No
lot
doubt.
of things inside of us that we still haven't dealt with. But we can get to that some other time. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because right now I'd
Absolutely.
kind of like to get to the corner.
Let's pull up on the
Absolutely.
corner.
Let's go to the corner, baby.
First of all, I'd like to start off this corner. I'd like to start off
Let's
this
go.
corner by reading out the definition of plagiarism. Excuse me.
Okay.
The practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as one's own.
Mm,
Now, I've said this before. First of all, I want to say, like, I've been a writer my whole life. I got my first piece of work published when I was 16 years old. I had two things published when I was 16. I entered a couple of like nationwide, like, contests, and I ended up in a couple of books. Okay. So really a writer by trade. It was my writing that led me into the pod space where I've been the last 4 years, where people have actually gotten familiar with me based on something that I wrote.
mhm.
When you're a writer, you're funny about your shit the same way like a rapper or a musician, somebody involved in the arts is. We're all artists, and writing is my craft in the arts that I've really honed in on and always like kind of been there. It is a violation to take somebody else's ideas and flip them like their own. And I've said this in like a way more like hateful and egregious way in the past. And I can even understand why some of these older dudes who we've looked up to have had their day, and they may see somebody in the smaller space like myself and feel the need to pull ideas from it, and they can get away with that. But I'll be goddamn if I'm going to let somebody who ain't even on that level continue to steal my shit and other people's shit. And
Mm.
you know who you are because I know you're going to be watching. And so respectfully understand what plagiarism is. Stop taking my ideas and flipping them and passing them off as your own. Like, if your pen ain't nice enough to write it, if your mind ain't right enough to remember it, Don't take my creations because you don't have any within your well. You feel what I'm saying? Because it makes it hard for me to want to wish you well. I got mental health issues. I don't know what the fuck I would do to you if I seen you. I'm not joking. Because I feel some type of way. Because it keeps on happening. And I've been cool about it. But this is just me asking nicely and kindly. Stop stealing my shit. And stop stealing other people's shit. I don't care how big or small you are at this space. If you can't stand on your own too, it's just like anything else. Then don't stand at all. Walk the fuck out of here and find something else to do. You usually have 3 careers in your lifetime. Get the fuck on. Go do something else. That's all I got. AG, how you doing?
I'm good. Man. I'm good. I mean, I feel like I should have, been able to.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I feel like you remember the intro to Wu-Tang Forever, where RZA was having the same kind of diatribe. I feel like we should be playing that instrumental in the background right now.
What the fuck is going on? Like it's almost like, what did I do to deserve this? Dude, like I don't even got a problem with you and you doing this. It'd be different if other people in this space who, quite frankly, I'm not too fond of anymore and they're not too fond of me. It'd be different if they was doing it. I expect that from them. But just to be blindsided like this, I'm dealing with enough shit as it is. I'm taking my ideas. This is wild. We're grown-ass men. I take the time every week, no matter how busy I am, to come up with a page of notes, maybe 2. Because I'm dedicated. I don't even read half the shit that's on here. I just like the process because it makes me research. It makes me dig. Mm-hmm. It makes my mind get busy. And when my mind get busy, I come up with thoughts. And those thoughts get activated. And they become pieces of this show. And I'm pretty sure y'all's processes works in some sort of shape or fashion in a similar way, depending on whatever your release point is. My release point is writing. And so I take the things that I write that usually activate most of the things that I create come from me writing it down, just me physically writing it down.
Right.
Like, don't take that from me.
Right.
And then if I were to show my ass, then it becomes, well, here Coop go again. Really? Is it me?
Right.
I'm the problem? Because I might want to smack the shit out of somebody because they keep taking what's mine.
I mean, look, man, what they say, that's the best form of flattery, right? When someone take your stuff,
I'm beyond being flattered because it's like, it's flattery when somebody acknowledges you. Like I acknowledge the things that like I take from, and I get it. It's just like this, like, let's take it to some rap shit and then we can slide out of here. The producers of the East Coast in the early 90s, Sean, as you know, well, they all went to the same record stores. Mm-hmm. So Q-Tip, Pete Rock, Large Pro, I think Paul C. Mm-hmm. I'm missing some other people I feel like that were kind of like in that circle at the time, but they heard each other's stuff and you could hear like some of their stuff in each other. Mm-hmm. They didn't just take each other's shit. They still did it their way.
Right.
Like if you have a comment or idea, let it be your way on your day, not literally the night after I just did it. Right. When I do it at night and then you do it in the morning, it lets me know you're getting up in the morning to take my shit. Yeah. Because we don't know each other like that.
Yeah, and shout out to Andrew. Me and Andrew had a nice back and forth conversation the other day about how that's really frowned upon in our culture. You know what I mean? And it's like and I was just basically trying to break down to understand why things are the way they are, and we had a really good conversation about it. So shout out to Andrew and just to kind of lay that out because that's kind of like an unwritten rule since the beginning of time in hip hop, really.
Well, here's the thing about it. It exists in the writing world as well. That's why I'm explaining my creative process some, like a piece of it, so that you understand that, like, by definition, what you're doing is plagiarizing me. Mm-hmm. So technically, if I wanted to, I could go to court and pull your shit up and be like, I really own that technically because he plagiarized what I've been doing. And I can show times and dates like I showed you all this morning with a couple of nice, very friendly messages attached to them.
So let me ask you this, Cool. Do you think that there's at this point, would you sit down with someone who's biting your stuff constantly or repeatedly attaching themselves to what you're putting out there? Is that worth the conversation, or is that beyond conversation at this point? Because maybe that person spar with you behind the scenes. Maybe they see you on a show and they're behind their home sparring with you on things that you're saying, and that's their outlet to be able to share how they feel about the things that you're sharing as well.
I don't know how else to say this except for I really don't give a fuck about all that. I don't care. So, but if he were to reach out and want to have a conversation, yeah. But life has kind of taught me that when you're in his position and when you're in my position, what he about to say? You gonna apologize? He gonna say it ain't gonna happen again? Because there's a certain mind and an ego that exists with somebody who does stuff like this. You feel me?
No doubt.
And so their ego probably won't allow them to extend their hand and have a conversation.
No doubt.
We got to queue up No Ideas original though. It's never what you do, but how it's done. So just keep doing your own thing with flair, my G. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about people biting your stuff.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I'm never gonna stop, but sometimes you just gotta let people know. So this is me.
You gotta let them know that you see it. You gotta let them know that you see it.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Don't act like you're not stealing my shit. You know who you are.
No, I get it. We are in an age of social media where
grown ass men,
everyone's looking for content, right? So everyone feeds off of certain content because they can't be creative on their own. So again, you being a trailblazer. I'm trying to make light of it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make light of it.
No. I understand, but it's like when you say that, that's what bothers me, because like I do it because I really have a passion for it, and by passion I put in the work, and therefore like I'm very good at it and care about it because of those things. So
no doubt.
Yeah.
Sean's a devil's advocate kind of guy though, Coop. If you ain't caught up.
And I appreciate the cross-examination and rebuttal by the defense.
Cause trust me, I want to get active all the time, but I'm trying to learn a different way to handle
Verdict is, I got mental health issues. You should really stop doing that to me.
I'm trying to find a different way to handle me being active.
I might feel better if I had one of those, actually. That's like kind of like comfort food. That's comfort juice. Take you back to your WIC days. You know what I'm saying? I ain't ashamed.
Hey, I don't got no horsepower. You know what I'm saying?
Used to get the big can of the juicy juice.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Grab the can opener, boop, boop.
Yeah, those hit different. You can't even get those no more.
They do hit different though.
Everybody in the cul-de-sac in my part of the hood getting the juicy juice. All right.
Yeah, that's like the Gatorade in the glass bottles. You can't get them joints no more.
No.
I haven't seen one of those in over 15 years, probably, at least, maybe longer.
Word.
Man, Gatorade tasted so much better in those glass bottles for some crazy reason.
It really did.
This really was a difference.
It was a difference.
Now we really sound like we about to tell somebody to get off their lawn. What's the next segment?
Yo, let's go to new music, man. Let's go to new music. So you guys heard that new single by Common and Pete Rock, right? So that album is actually ramping up to come out. So how are we feeling about this? Are you excited about Common? First of all, are we excited about Common bringing another album out? And number two, are we excited about Common and Pete Rock getting in the studio together? Let's start with you, Cool. What you thinking about this one, man? This is your lane right here.
After I got done listening to this record, I said to myself, Nas and Preem better come with it. That's exactly what I thought. Like, this is what I mean. This is my creative thoughts. Like, this is my mind working. I'm thinking to myself, oh no, them two?
Mm-hmm.
You two? Top of your profession, correct?
Yep.
The results need to reflect. The results reflect on this record. And I think maybe probably more time and intention was put to this record, because I'm not even sure if the Nas and Preem record we got is going to make the album, like AG astutely pointed out.
Yep.
But I was impressed. This isn't what I would like to call like Common's kind of like Miami Heat Shaq. He's not LA Lakers Shaq anymore. Like that's him on B. That's him on like Water for Chocolate. That's him on Finding Forever. But no, he sounds like Miami Heat Shaq. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh no. That guy's still good for 22 and 10. It can still go get you like 30, 15 in a playoff game when it really matters. So he sounds like a top 15 MC of all time on this record because he is. His catalog, his rhymes, and his songs reflect that type of stature. And the same thing could say for Pete Rock, except for probably with Pete's case, it would probably be in top 10 in his craft and in some people's opinion, top 5. So they actually, even with those lofty expectations that come with it, they still actually really, really deliver. This is a dope ass record.
Indeed.
The beat sounds like Pete, but it kind of sounds like Preem a little bit to me.
That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Updated.
It does.
It sounds like he's doing Preem better than Preem and updating it.
Yeah. I thought about that.
Didn't it seem a little Preemish to you?
Yeah, it did.
That was, you know what? That's the guy I forgot to mention when I was talking about all the other guys was Preem because he's kind of separated himself. You know what I mean? But he was there. Gangstar, Tribe.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like all those guys. Yeah.
Yep.
So those are my thoughts. AG, what do you think?
What do you think, AG?
For me, I like the juxtaposition of the Nas and Preem album, up against the Pete Rock and the Common album, because let's face it, that's what it's going to be. People are going to compare these two bodies of work. I'm just happy as somebody who's 40 plus to look at these legends and icons in the game who are all 50 plus still put out high quality material. You know what I mean? So I think both projects are going to be dope. This Pete Rock and Common single, it was fire. I mean, I loved it, when I first heard it. And to Coop's point, Common is rhyming on a high level on there, not, like Common of old, but he's still in shape. And, like I always say, it's all about getting your reps in. So if we're comparing the projects, they're not here yet. I think Common's level of MCing kind of has to catch up with Pete's production a little bit, because Pete's been active, for a elder statesman in the production world. He's been pretty active. So as long as Common's rhymes and, flows and all that matches Pete's production, then the album will be fire. I have the inverse thoughts on the Nas and Preem record. Nas has been super active getting his reps in. He's doing flows. He's catching pockets like he hasn't before. And he sounds real comfortable on a lot of stuff. So, to Coop's point, and use his phrase, he got to update the formula a little bit to make his production catch up to where Nas is at now. So I think, it's just an interesting kind of dichotomy in a situation. But, I love to see it, man. These are all legendary MCs, legendary producers coming together to do their individual projects. My only hope and caveat that I will say, I hope that, I know Pete had an issue with Nas or whatever, but, hopefully he's put that to the side, since then. Some things I'm seeing on socials now, he looks to be showing Nas a little bit of love. But if that is put to the side and they're good, now I would love to see a Nas feature on the Common album over Pete Rock production. I think that would be dope, so I'll just put that out in the atmosphere and see what comes back with it. What you got, Sean?
No, I agree, man. I agree with both of you guys. I'm excited for this. This is our lane of hip hop, right? And when I first heard about the project and then I heard the song, I said, I wonder if this has anything to do with the Nas effect. Nas mentioned that he wanted his peers to get back into the lab. He wanted those from his ilk, from his generation of hip hop, to get back in the lab and just start having fun again with rapping. And now you're starting to see certain things kind of blossom and bloom from that. I agree with both of you guys. I think that this should be a very stellar project. We know what we're going to get from Common. I like the way Coop analogized the fact that, you're talking about Miami Shaq. Miami Shaq wasn't as dominant, but, his presence was still there. Any given night, he can give you 30, 35 one night. But other nights, he's going to give you consistent 22 and 10, 22 and 12, and he's still going to dominate the game in a different fashion. Based on the way I process Common's delivery, I'm thinking that I feel that we're getting a different side of Common. Because me personally, I thought that Common's highest clip was on B because he had something to prove. At that time, he just came off of, you can probably say not the best, run before B, where I think people was doubting if he had the ability to even put together a stellar project from front to back. And he paired up with Kanye at the time, and Kanye was like the hottest producer in the game. And Kanye gave him probably some of the best production that you can give someone like Common to surf on. And Common wrote every single rhythm of that album. And B, in my opinion, is maybe top 25, maybe top 15, Twist My Arm albums of all time.
I agree.
That's
It's okay.
how no bar was wasted. And that's what we saw Common. And then we saw a little slight dip right after that. He kind of veered off a little bit.
Well, I mean, see,
But
here's the thing.
Mhm,
Usually when you make like a top 25 rap album all time,
mhm.
it's hard for there not to be a drop off.
It's very hard,
Right.
very hard. And I think he kind of, to your point, cool. I wonder if he would have kept that same formula with Kanye, would he been able to produce something similar to B or something not too far distant from B? But now you're going to get Pete Rock, who is really a mastermind on the production, and you're pairing him up with Common, what, 20 plus years later?
Well,
This might be interesting.
okay, so quick nuance of that. The weakest part of Common's game has always actually been his hook game.
Mm-hmm.
And on B, what you find is that, well, Kanye does a few hooks.
Mm-hmm.
John Legend does a hook.
Good point. Good point.
Bilal does a hook.
Good point.
He did better on Finding Forever with that.
And there
Mhm.
are songs, because of how Kanye likes to sample, where the sample is the hook. And
Mhm.
so what he did, and this is what an executive producer does, and this is when I thought he really did become one of the greatest producers of all time.
Mhm.
Well, you're supposed to also fill the holes of what you know he doesn't do well.
Mhm.
And if you listen to his best stuff, sometimes where it loses steam is on his hooks. He did do better on Finding Forever, as AG pointed out, but that was after
Yeah.
B. B is probably what enabled him to do that. He might have gotten to
Yeah.
sit on some hooks for one, and therefore compress it into the next album because Ye was making sure so many of the hooks were taken care of.
Right.
And he also could have got better because of the experience and the high of B. Like, Common is the type of person that I feel like every time he got a little bit more successful, he actually got a little bit better as a rapper for a stretch.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like every time he got a little bit more, he actually got a little bit better, which means he
Right.
cared. Like he's
Right.
a better rapper on One Day It All Makes Sense than he is on Resurrection. But he's
He
a better
is.
rapper on Resurrection than he is on Can I Borrow a Dollar. But he's
Right.
definitely a better rapper by the time you find him on Like Water for Chocolate.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Top tier at that point.
He's top tier at that point.
Yeah.
Right, top tier at that point.
I
So
wonder if he gets into that, because Common has that voice that doesn't go up and down much. He doesn't have fluctuation. In B, he sounded hungry, he sounded excited, and he sounded very enthusiastic about what he was doing on B. Because you hear like a different swagger. Like Water for Chocolate, you really heard a different level of Common. You heard the lyricist
Mm-hmm.
Common.
Yep.
But on B,
Yeah.
you heard someone who was confident, who was saying, "Yo, I'm him. I'm that guy. I can spar with the best of them." So he had like a different bravado on B. And again, I don't know if that was because Kanye brought that out of him.
Yeah.
Like, you mentioned it, like having John Legend out there to kind of take that burden away from a Cook, or having Kanye orchestrating things. I wonder if Pete Rock would be able to help orchestrate some of those things and bring back that zeal that Kanye would typically have in an album like this to prove himself again.
well,
A lot
here's
of
the thing.
Oh, go
I'm
ahead,
sorry,
Chris.
AG. You haven't got a chance to get in yet. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say a lot of things happen kind of by osmosis a lot of times. So, before that, Common did a lot of work with No ID, which is, one of the greatest producers ever, but quiet demeanor, how he carry himself. If you're around Kanye for a lot of time, some of that bravado is going to rub off on you a little bit. Just like we said with the Nas and Hit Boy run, having Hit Boy around for that young boy energy probably, brought out the best in Nas. So I think a lot of that came out on B was from having Kanye around. But real quick, Coop, before you give your take. I don't know if y'all seen Carmelo's podcast, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, but Common had made a statement saying that he had passed on the beat for Heard 'Em Say on Late Registration. And that just blew my mind because B is perfect as is. And now I'm like, I can't get over that. And I'm hearing Common over that beat in my head. And I'm like, yo, imagine if that was tacked on the B too. I'm trying to tell you, that bumps it up like, another 5 ranks in greatest albums all time.
Easy.
So I feel like B is the formula that works. So let's look at it. Common is Common in a lot of ways, not in a lot of ways. Common is a hip hop guy. Like he's a b-boy and he's a rapper. He's really has been immersed in this culture for a long time until recently. He's delved into other arenas. I'm not a big fan of him delving into those places, but that's what his aspirations are. More power to him. But as far as his rap shit is concerned, he's a rapper's rapper. Like he is somebody that's been on Hot 97 and traded bars freestyle wise with KRS-One, like, and being more than capable of doing that. So he's high level, but look at B. Well, the intro, that's him let him do his rapper shit. But then you go into the corner. Last Poets and Kanye got the hook. Go. Kanye's got the hook.
Yep.
Next record is Faithful, I think. That's a sample. Next song is Testify. That's a sample on the hook.
Yep.
Next song is Shy City, isn't it?
Yeah.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another sample with Kanye chanting in the background. The Food, Kanye on the hook. Think about it. We're at track 9. Common hasn't spit a hook yet.
Yeah, but it's like when you play hoop, right?
Message.
When you play hoop and you got an offensive player that sucks on the defensive end, you're going to do whatever you can to hide those deficiencies on the defensive end. You know what I mean? So I feel like, I really didn't even do the knowledge on that till you just said it, because him and Kanye hid that so well throughout the album. But you're right. They picked that out and said, hooks might not be a strong suit, but we can mask that well and still make a classic album.
So here's the thing. Like, if you know that Stockton and Malone are about to run the pick and roll, but you can't stop it, why would you stop running that play? They literally went to the Hall of Fame running one fucking play.
One play.
Every time they went up the court for 10 straight years. Pick and roll. Now, you may not have Karl Malone or a Kanye, but you can go find you a Kevin Garnett, a Barkley, a Dirk. They'll run the pick and roll with your ass, and Amari Stoudemire when he's healthy. You get what I'm saying? But nigga, if you know the pick and roll works, we'll run the pick and roll.
Bread and butter. And if this album ends up being dope, we having another conversation, because Common got a top 10 discography of all time.
I think it's borderline top 5 to me.
So if this album is dope, that enters the chat. If this album is dope,
I mean,
it's up there. It's up there, man.
I mean, just off the top of my head, Nas, Jay, Scarface, Ghostface, KRS-One come to mind immediately. About full catalog. But after those guys,
did you put 15 in there?
Not enough.
Not over Common. Common's got too many great albums. 50 best. Get Rich or Die Trying is a top 10-ish rap album to me. Like, if it's not 10, it's like probably 1 or 2 right outside of 10. It may be, but and that would make it slightly better than B, because I think it is slightly better than B. Like, overall, like, B's probably better as a player beginning to end, but the records on Get Rich or Die Trying are just too much.
Yeah, Kanye and Kendrick got great discographies, but they don't have the breadth that everybody else has. And then you got Games in that conversation.
Common's catalog is better than Games to me.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's top 10, but like, we might be having a top 5 conversation depending on how great this album is. So,
like, don't you think B's better than the documentary?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know, bro.
Let's ask a question.
The documentary. I love
documentaries. A classic. To me, Dr. Zavik B's a better conversation.
That's not better than B.
But B still wins. B is competing with the Supreme Clientels, the Blueprints, like them type, records.
Well, Common wins over Game to me because it's like, well, his like third, fourth, and fifth best albums is stuff like. I mean, I'm pretty certain we're all on the same agreement that B and Like Water for Chocolate are his two best albums, right?
Absolutely.
I think so. 1 and 2. B1 and Like Water for Chocolate 2.
But he's got Finding Forever. He's got One Day It'll All Make Sense.
Resurrection.
He's got Resurrection. Yeah. As far as the top 5, that's a top 5 that's pretty fucking hard to beat. Like you literally have to be Scarface or Nas or Jay, or Ghost. And I'm not even certain if Ghost's fifth is better than Common's fifth. That's what I'm saying.
It's close.
Ghost may beat him in quality of catalog, especially if you interpret the Wu shit too. If you interpret the Wu shit, it's definitely Ghost.
It's cheat code.
Yeah, it's a cheat code. Or
it is what it is.
It
is what it is. Right? Look here, man. Life is not fair. So it's like, after those 4 guys that I named, after Nas, Jay, Scarface, and Ghost, who can really say that they have a better catalog than Common? Like, really? Like, what's your 5th best album look like?
That spot's up for grabs. If he drops a dope album like 4.5 plus, then
I think his problem. I'm sorry, AG. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I think he would enter the top 5. Objectively,
I think his biggest problem is that he doesn't have any group work to offset some of these guys. The way Face got Ghetto Boys, and the way Scarface is so revered by New Yorkers and by Southerners. He's done so many features and been on so many songs with so many different dudes. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so that's where catalog-wise, guys like Scarface and Ghostface, like, have an edge up on Common, and probably will remain to have an edge up. So it's like, I don't know if he'll be able to go higher than 5 if he goes to 5, is what I'm saying.
Well, even more so than that, the duds that's in his catalog, I think people really hold those against them heavy, like the Electric Circus and the Universal Mind Control, them joints. So I think
joints are weird. Yeah,
cool. You can keep those.
Yeah, but he has enough great material to offset those, in my opinion. But I think the people that do count those against them, like, are really heavy-handed with that. Kind of like you are against Mr. Morale, Coop. But I'm just,
You want to know what?
Relapse.
Hey, you want to know what? When I'm out bopping, either hanging or shopping, people see me stop them, ask them when the album dropping. The wait is over. In formation like a soldier, like I told you, greater, stronger. Now that I'm older, I broke a code of silence with overloads of talent. My only challenge is not to explode in violence. No, stop, AG. I want you to tell me something. Now spit something from Mr. Morale off the top of your head the way I just spit something off the 18th letter from 1997, since that album is so good. Since we got to be honest about what's going on.
Exactly. If I spit something, it might be controversial.
Since you're the honest police.
AG.
Yeah.
If you was able to do that, that album would be like that. And that's why I keep telling people that album's not like that. When an album is like that, or when an album is good, or even when a song is great on an album, you can always be able to go back to it if it's truly great, if you're actually ahead.
I really don't think it's great, but my whole argument was that we got to have just scales, not unbalanced scales. We got to weight it the same for everybody. Everybody got duds in the catalog. So
everybody has duds, but the 18th letter is not a dud because it has memorable songs that people still recite, like I just did off the top of my head.
I think most would consider it objectively. I think most people coming from him because of who he is. But my thing with the Kendrick stuff, and we'll get to this later on for sure.
Made 3 classic rap albums in a row. Like, who cares? He already made 3 classic rap albums in a row. This is what I'm talking about. So it's like, how about this? All he is on the 18th letter is like KG in Boston. It's like, no, he's not like, it's not 26 and 14 and bringing the ball up the court. It's not that anymore. But it's good enough to win Defensive Player of the Year and win a ring. The only guys that rap better than him that year is Jay.
Mm-hmm. That was 97, right?
Big had Life After Death.
Well, here's the thing.
Here's the thing. No. In 97, that's when Nas dropped The Firm. He sounds better than Nas in 97, lyrically speaking.
On the Firm, yeah. But
The Firm is 97, so that's what he would have for 97.
But what Rakim was doing, then we can get off this, but what Rakim was doing, I don't think you have to overrate 18th letter to properly rate Mr. Morale. And I think it's coming from a lot of his fan base, and we're going to get to this. Some of Kendrick's fan base is unsufferable, and he's a media darling. It is what it is, and his PR team is top tier, right? So I think with all the love that Kendrick gets, and he's a great artist, he's a great MC, I think sometimes you come off heavy-handed to swing the pendulum so far in the other direction just to provide balance. Because I really don't think you hate the album as much as you say you do.
Yeah. I do.
The album is fucking terrible, AG.
But you're on record saying otherwise, though.
And I'm on record going back and saying that I was totally wrong and that this album sucks.
I never wavered.
Like people act like the first part of the record counts more than the second part of the record. Does anybody want to talk about the second part of the record that plays? When I was like, you want to know what? I tried to let this sit on me. I tried to let this grow on me. But the more I'm thinking about it, the only reason I'm even giving it a 3 and I'm taking it down from a 4 is because the writing is brilliant, which I always said. The writing was brilliant. It's not a fucking writing competition. The name of the podcast is Hip Hop Talks.
Well, that's why the hard part
about his mental health that I don't want to hear because the songs suck.
What was it? The hard part 5. That's why the hard part 5 was added, to have like those type of bars on the album. You know what I'm saying? But just like I said with Common got a dub with Universal Mind Control. We gotta be consistent with how we hold these duds against our favorites, man.
And that's terrible too.
It is terrible.
Universal Mind Control.
Yes.
Yeah, but you ain't gonna go on a 30-minute diatribe about it. That's what I'm saying. We gotta be consistent.
It's better than Mr. Morale. At least it has Come Close and a couple of Dilla joints on there. Come Close is better than everything on Mr. Morale.
I would put Electric Circus up. Universal Mind Control. No, Electric Circus is actually.
Oh, that's Electric Circus. Come Close. Universal Mind Control.
I think Electric Circus is better than Universal Mind Control. Personally.
Me too.
Electric Circus was right before B, right?
Correct.
Very crappy albums. They're very crappy albums. They're all crappy albums.
There's people out there that say Electric Circus is better than Nostradamus. I don't agree, but there's people out there that say that.
Yeah,
say what?
I've heard people say Electric Circus is better than Nostradamus. Dead serious. I don't agree, but I've heard people say it.
Must be West Virginia talk.
Hey, yo, Sean, I told you had one more time, man. I'm gonna air you out on this show, bro. Like, yo, I'm not playing anymore, bro. I'm gonna put the shades back on and air you out real quick.
I didn't hear that here. I didn't hear that. I just didn't know if it was a city thing. I don't know.
Yo, don't make me put the shades back on, Sean.
No more juicy juice.
Yeah, no more the juicy juice in the shades, man. My bad, man. Shout out to West Virginia, man. Charleston, Beckley, and whatever else they got out there. Shout out to all of y'all.
All right.
Let's get into that Rapsody, man. I want both of you guys to talk about this one because I enjoyed like reading what you guys were talking about it earlier this week when we were kind of like talking about how we were going to navigate this conversation with Rapsody. And I saw where, AG, you actually said this was the album of the year so far. And,
yes. Yeah, go ahead, Sean. My fault.
You know what I'm saying? And Coop, you kind of, doubled back and said that you felt like she checked all the boxes on this album. And I wanted to get you guys to kind of talk through that, man, because I didn't listen to the album until I saw you guys make comments about it in our group chat. And I went back and listened to it yesterday morning on my flight. And I agree with everything you guys are saying in the chat, but I want to hear more if you can expound on why you felt that this was an album of the year already so far this year.
Yeah, it was kind of ironic because me and Coop had that whole conversation in the last pod. He was like, what would you think is the album of the year? And I really had to think about it because nothing really stuck out, as a standout album so far. But after giving this Rapsody album one listen, I was like thoroughly convinced like this is by far the best. And when I say by far, I really mean by far the best thing I've heard this year so far. Just overarching, I think it's a really great thematic project. It's very conceptual, what she's doing. It's like autobiographical and she's really diving deep into the fabric of like, who she is if you really pay attention to the songs. And, we just got off of, Mr. Morale and all that. But like, to Coop's point, though, this is an album that sticks the landing when you're really doing self-reflection and those type of tracks, you know what I mean? Therapeutic type tracks. And I just think it's stellar work. Some things that really stuck out to me was there's no Ninth Wonder on this album production wise. So, on Eve, Ninth did at least half or a little bit more than half of the album. And I don't think Ninth had one track on this album. So that was something that stuck out. But all the beats are, really good. Oh, go ahead, Coop.
I thought he had one. No, I'm about to look up right quick.
Yeah, fact check me on that. I didn't see him on the credits any, but fact check me on that. But as far as like the themes of the album, first of all, I'm a huge Matrix fan, one of my favorite movies of all time. You come into the album with the intro and the interludes playing off of Neo's conversation with the Oracle. And, she got Felicia Rashad, Mrs. Huxtable playing that role. So that was a nice touch. Asteroids we had already heard before. That was a banger with Hit Boy. And, when she's doing metaphors, like her metaphors, like, they punch, they land. Her metaphors are super dope. Flow's crazy. D&D with the for Do Not Disturb. It's not personal. That's the Monica flip, on Just One of Those Days. She killed that song. He Shot Me, the playoff of I Shot the Sheriff, but I Didn't Shoot the Deputy. I'm talking about injustices in the Black community. Super dope song. Loose Rocks hit me right in the heart, man. Talking about her second mother figure with dementia, and then the skit at the end where they're conversating, man. That when a song can get you feeling a certain kind of way, that's a different kind of level.
AG,
yo,
both of them, grandma and grandpa got dementia.
Yeah.
She
my grandma just passed recently in March, and she had dementia, and it's appreciate it, bro. And that really hit me, in the feels on that one. Raw with Lil Wayne, he's the new feature king, man. Everything he touch, he blazes. Arguably almost as dope as J. Cole was doing for a while. And I read an article with Rapsody, and she said she wrote a verse over, many times trying to compete with that Wayne verse. So that's dope. There's a couple more. 3 a.m. with Erykah Badu. Listen, in hip hop, in the hip hop pantheon, we have a lot of records about relationships, right? That is, I'm putting my stamp on it. That's one of the dopest records I've ever heard in regards to a relationship with somebody. You know what I mean? Just like describing the nuances and the things that make a relationship beautiful. 3 a.m. is 3 a.m. The joint with Erykah Badu. It's an exceptional record.
It's one of the best joints on the album.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's stellar. Back in My Bag is just a huge banger. And the last joint that I put as a noteworthy joint is Faith. That's another deep joint that'll get you in your feels. I really think, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to jump out the window and say it's a 5 mic album, man. Like, I don't really see any flaws with this album, but what you got, Coop?
I think, much like you, that she just made the album of the year. I think this is the second time she has made album of the year, because I believe Rapsody's Eve was the best rap album that year as well.
Eve was. Yeah.
Yeah, 2019, right?
Her last 2 albums.
Yeah.
If Lupe makes these albums, if Kendrick makes these albums, if Nas makes these albums, with these concepts, these ideas, these appropriate reflections on mental health. And when I say appropriate, I am taking a shot at Mr. Morale, because the dialogue and the conversation is not only appropriate, it's balanced, it's thoughtful, it's clear, but most of all, the songs are really fucking good. Because at the end of the day, the song needs to be good. These songs are good. These songs are really, really good. She hit the nail. She hit the hammer with the nail every time she stepped up the bat on this album.
Real quick, Coop, sorry to cut you off, but to your point that you said about, like, if it was Nas or whoever that did this album, she spits that a couple of times on this album. Like, if I had a, you know what, then I'd be in GOAT conversations. It would be GOAT talk. So she realizes at the level that she's spitting at. She realizes it herself.
But what I was about to tell you, the only person, and I'm not joking when I say this, as far as mic performances this year that I've heard, I would tell you this is the best one.
Sure.
And the only other person, and the person that I would actually tell you is the only person that's competing with her lyrically that I've heard this year consistently is I Am God. That's why I'm so big on him.
Oh, that joint was dope. That joint was dope.
Yeah.
I'm still playing it. I know it's dope.
Yeah.
Those are the two best actual bar seminars from beginning to end that I've heard all year.
No, you're right. You're right.
His shit ain't dropped yet. His shit dropping June 14th, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's going down. But
From
yeah,
what I heard, that's in contention. But we going with what's out that the public's heard so far.
right. We're going with what's heard so far. So of what's officially been released so far, yeah, this is album of the year.
I agree.
What part of Carolina is she from, Coop?
I forget, to be honest with you. I'd have to look it up again. It's been so
I
long.
saw it. She's like, I think close to the Pineville area, if I'm not mistaken.
That's fine.
I think that's the Durham. Isn't that the Durham hub? I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I can't. Snow Hill.
What are you
I'm sorry,
saying?
Snow Hill. She's from Snow Hill.
Snow Hill. I'm not familiar with that area.
Snow Hill is like, man, it's hard to explain. I'm familiar with that area. I'm familiar with the entire area actually, but Snow Hill is like a small town in North Carolina. Like I want to say it's like the northeast portion of North Carolina, close to the Greenville area of North Carolina. Very small area.
Well, still, that's enough for you to claim his home team, Coop. I know you gotta be proud.
Well, if she's in the Greenville area, she's about 2-3 hours. She's probably about 2.5, 3 hours from Charlotte.
It's out there.
From Charlotte going like probably about 3 hours from Charlotte going northeast of here, northeast of Charlotte. So that like you'd be headed towards the coast, towards Wilmington, if you were headed towards Greenville.
Okay, I got you. Did you see Ninth on there when you looked at the?
No, Ninth wasn't on there. Now, AG, I don't know if I can give it a 5 because I don't know, and all the songs are good. I don't want to confuse what I'm saying. I don't know what one of these songs is going to stick just enough to put it over the hump to be in contention with the classic, because I do have a caveat about a classic. A lot of people have really made albums with like good songs from beginning to end that aren't considered classics. I consider Scarface to be a master at that because I think he only has 3 definite classics, but he doesn't have a bad album either because he consistently makes good songs.
Right.
But even though he consistently makes good songs and most of his albums contain material that you can play from beginning to end, not all of them are classics. If that was the case, every album Scarface made would be a classic.
Like it's straight B pluses or A's, straight A's, but no A pluses.
Right. Like The Fix is something different. That's a classic. The Diary is something different. That's a classic. Like it's him being him, but the level and the quality of the songs, like The Diary has Never Seen a Man Die and Going Down and Mind Playing Tricks 94. You know what I'm saying? Like it's got stuff on there that people still bump. That's considered to be classics. Like Never Seen a Man Die is one of the best rap songs ever. So this album doesn't have that, is what I'm saying, but it's not missing anything other than that, in my opinion. There's no, like, think about this. The Infamous has Give Up the Goods, and it has Survival of the Fittest, and it has Shook Ones Part 2, and it has Eye for an Eye, and it has Temperatures Rising. Like, it's a lot when you say something is perfect, and I realize it. In order for something to really get a 5, it's like there need to be songs on there that like that really, really hold up. Like let's go to KD2. It's like I gave KD2 a 5 because I'm like, no, like Store Run and Nobody's about to hold up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like the songs are good from beginning to end, but it's got just enough joints on there where I'm like, no, some of these songs gonna hold.
Well, can I ask you a question? I'll do you one. I'll do you one better. Like you talk about Lupe or Kendrick putting out this album. If Lauren puts out this album, is it a runaway 5?
This is actually my thought about that. Like, first of all, Lauren's talent is so supreme that it allows her to do things that not even some of the greatest of men we have ever heard rap can do on the mic.
That's true.
She's like that. She's like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, it ain't that she's the best female. It's that she's better than most of the fucking guys, too.
Better than a lot of the field. Yeah.
Yes.
And when I mean better than, I mean easily better than 90%. More like 95.
Yeah.
She's better than 90 to 95% of the male rappers that have ever lived if we just talking on some bar for bar shit.
Absolutely.
And so her putting together an album like this would mean something different about the lyrical dexterity of the album, but it's great enough that we do need to have a conversation about her, because other than Lauren and Lil' Kim, when I'm starting to look at Rapsody's catalog, when I'm starting to look at her style, when I'm looking at the amass of great songs that she's made between with these last two albums specifically, when I look at her contribution to the culture in terms of when she does do features, when I'm thinking about the content, it's like, well, shit, she over damn near everybody except for Lauren and Kim, maybe, which is why we probably need to have a conversation about where she is all time. Because also, too, I don't remember hearing an album by a woman in this hip hop space that was like really a contender for album of the year. And I feel like she already did it once. And I think it's going to be harder for her to do it again this time, just because Com and PR are coming. Nas and Preem are coming. J. Cole better not have the second best rap album from an artist from North Carolina, or we going to have a motherfucking problem up in here.
Yeah, the fall off has a lot to do.
It has a lot to do just to become the best rap album to come out of the state of North Carolina this year now.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah.
So it better be great. Kendrick is coming. Drake is probably coming because Kendrick is coming, or vice versa. I really don't give a damn at the end of the day.
Yeah, we kind of off that.
You know, there's a lot. There's a lot coming down the pipe, man.
What you got, Sean?
That may help and hurt at the same time. So look at like this.
It's gonna be a top 10 rap album this year, like worst case scenario, but
it's going to be
probably top 5.
It has to be.
But right now,
does the media allow that?
I'm gonna say no, and I'm gonna say where this album is gonna land at the end of the day. You remember how great JID's album was last year, The Forever Story?
It was the 4th best album that year, in my opinion, I believe. No, actually, I think 3rd or 4th. Yes.
But for as great as it was, do you feel like it was talked about enough?
I know I talked about it. I said if Nas didn't exist, it would have won Album of the Year.
Well, I mean, outside of yourself, because, you know what I'm saying, you're going to cover everything. You know what I mean?
Oh, I get what you're saying, but like, here's what, you know, Mom used to always tell me, you can't fix stupid, Ahmad. You know?
Yeah.
So we can't fix stupid.
It's just unfortunate, you know, because I think this is going to be more of the same. Comparing it to the JID, I think this is a little bit better than the JID, but I think it'll be somewhat of the same outcome. A stellar album that nobody talks about enough.
That happens in hip hop oftentimes.
It does. It does.
It is part of the risk that you take when you're in this game. But
and
I know what I've heard with these last two albums.
And plus, is very heavy conceptually, and sometimes that doesn't translate well in the commercial space. But
no lie, like how about this? This is why I bring up the guys that I bring up. Which one? Like, this is better than Lupe's concept albums because the songs are better.
Yes.
This is better than Mr. Morale because the songs are better. This is better than the Untitled album by Nas. Like, I'm bringing up conceptual albums because the songs are better.
It is. And it's an album that women can really get behind, or dudes. Like, I've had this album on repeat. I think this is an album for anybody.
Sure. I was playing it with my daughter when we were riding today. I was playing it with my daughter today. Like, we rode to Rapsody today. Yeah.
It checks.
And I had the windows down. I had the windows down, sunroof back, like we bumping it.
Yeah. It checks everything.
We're rolling.
Not just a female rapper album, but just an album in general.
It's a great rap album. Yeah.
It's a great rap album. The beats are on point. Lyrics are there. The concepts are there. Hooks are there. Everything and even the skits are there. Everything makes sense for this album. My only concern is it doesn't. And again, this goes back to the female MC that we're going to get into a little bit more. It doesn't fit the scheme as what we've been seeing for the past couple of years.
Damn
And
shame.
It's
I think
unfortunate.
she knows that because she made a lot of different innuendos in this album.
She sure
Like,
did.
she even talked about pleasuring herself, but in a tasteful way.
Yeah.
Not in a way where it was so vulgar that you had to kind of like, whoa, what was that? Was that one? You know, she said it in a very tasteful way. She still expressed herself as a
Right.
woman
She
in a very
Sean,
tasteful way.
Sean, she on one of the songs she talks about rubbing her ass against somebody's mother's son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Like
so cool.
she's nice with it though.
Right.
Like
The
she's nice with it when
word
she
play
do
is
it.
crazy on here.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like, but she nice with it when she do it. She get busy with it when she do it.
Yeah.
That's
She
where
did.
it's different.
Exactly.
Like her talk game is different. Like her
The
talk game is
entendres are
cool.
crazy. Like she does everything on this album at a
She
high
does.
level.
It's masterful. It's a master class of an album. It is.
It is. It
But
is.
I like how you pointed out, Sean, how she's saying things to kind of, she knows where she addresses so many things on this album, like her sexuality or whatever. But she's saying that, hey, I can be sexy even though I'm a spitter. But she's addressing it in a way, like you said, Sean, that's very tasteful and in a creative manner and conceptually, where, you know, women is not ratchet or none of that, and women can listen to it, relate to it, and get behind it. So, you know, I just think it's a stellar album, man. I'd recommend anybody to listen to it at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So with that being said, guys, let's talk about these female MCs just a little bit. We're gonna have to go a deep dive. But how do we rank her in the pantheon of the female rappers? Because I thought about this for the past several days.
Hold on. I'm already ready for that because I've thought about it too. So right here I have 28 rappers who just happen to be women.
Okay.
Written down. And I think we should do a rundown, and I'm going to circle everybody that she hurdles. Is that fair?
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, 29.
Okay.
Sorry, I miscounted. All right. She better than Glow?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sexy Red?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Coi Leray?
Yes.
Yes.
Ice Spice?
Yes.
Yes.
Gets a little tougher. Remy?
Whew.
She went on a track head to head with Remy, and I think she's better.
I think she's better because she's had more success from a total body music perspective.
I think she's a better song maker and thereby has made better albums. And it's comparable. And it's comparable lyrically even when Remy is at her best. So,
but yo, if y'all haven't heard that, check out that DJ Premier Hip Hop 50, compilation EP from Mass Appeal. Like, it's called Remy Rap. That's a dope record.
It is a dope record. Might be the dopest record on that project.
By far, I think it is.
Me too.
Yeah.
Trina.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lotto.
Yes.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes.
Yes.
Love the Genius.
Yes.
Yes.
Cardi B.
Yes.
Yes.
Missy Elliott.
No.
Okay. So
no, I can't give her over Missy.
You can't.
I'm gonna
they can do the same thing actually. Missy can
we're gonna put a star back that. We're gonna put a star by that. Heather B.
Yes.
Yes.
Roxanne Shante.
I'm gonna make Sean answer this one.
Come on, Queens. What's up, Queens? Get the money.
Yeah, man. Queens get the money. Love you, Shantae. But yeah, she cleared.
Shantae was rapping at a high level at such a young age, though. But I got to give it to rap.
14, 15.
Yeah,
ahead of the curve. Ahead of the curve for sure.
Yeah.
Megan Thee Stallion.
Yes.
Yes.
Bahamadia.
Yes.
Yes.
Yo-Yo.
Yes.
Yes. That's a tough call, but yeah.
Che Noir.
It's a close one, but I'm gonna say yes.
She's more complete.
I think Che has a chance to rise up in these ranks over the years, though. But I hear you.
Mm-hmm. Are you agreeing with everything so far, Coop?
I do.
Okay.
I wrote some names down twice, so it's not as many as I thought. I was definitely riffing. The Brat.
Yes.
Yes.
Lyrics clear.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. The content is what clears it for me.
Yeah. More consistent too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Eve.
Yes.
That's
Eve
tough.
is a song maker. Eve is a song maker. But,
she is.
And she's a spitter at heart.
Yeah, she's a spitter at heart.
Yes.
No, let me rewind that back. And here's why. Eve held her on with tracks with Jada, Styles P, DMX, so on and so forth. In their prime. Now, Rapsody is rapping alongside Wayne. Now, granted, Wayne is not in his prime, but she's spitting right next to him, neck and neck. But I might have to give Eve the edge on that for song making ability and rapping with spitters in their prime and holding their own. So I'm gonna give the edge to Eve on that.
Yeah.
So here's what I would tell you. Right here is may call it a draw. And here's why. All those things you're saying are true, but Eve's best 2 albums are not fucking with these last 2 albums. The first one is close, but if we were ranking the albums in order, Rapsody's last 2 albums are better than his best album.
I think they're occupy two different spaces. I think Eve lives more so in the commercial space, and I think that Rapsody lives more in the critical space. And with that said, I would favor Rapsody's albums, but I think Eve is appealing to a different kind of audience, if that makes sense. But I would still give the nod to Eve, but barely. I mean, this is, if you say draw, I'm cool with that.
What about you, John?
I like what Cool went with that because if you think about it, Eve had help that Rapsody doesn't have.
Right.
You're with Rough Riders at a point where Rough Riders were untouchable. And you also had Dre and Gwen Stefani as a backdrop the second go around. So you got almost undeniable recipes that you cannot mess up. Rapsody's doing this pretty much for Dolo, if we're being honest. So we have difficulties a little bit.
But that door swings both ways though, Sean, because it's at the same time, like you have the help, but you got to hold your own around the help. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So, and then before the locks in them, she was rhyming alongside Black Thought, you know? Yep. So, I mean, if we were to draw that, that's, you know, but Eve is nice. Eve is nice.
Eve is nice.
Yeah. Okay. So this is why I'm saying, because Eve is top 5 in my opinion. So
yeah,
you cool with the draw?
Let's go with the draw. I don't want her to win though. Let's go with the draw.
Yeah, draw. Let's go. Let's draw that.
Queen Latifah.
Damn.
She can go the content route with Eve, like all the content's there. But Eve, not Eve. I'm sorry, with Rapsody, but Rapsody has better wordplay.
I'm about to say, you want to know who I feel like? You know who I feel like Rapsody really is? She's actually the best parts of Queen Latifah and MC Lyte put together.
That's a hell of an analogy.
Like she has Latifah's content, but she has Lyte's mic presence and verbal gymnastics and tenacity on the mic.
Right, because I favor Lyte over Latifah. But,
so do I.
Yeah.
But here's what I would tell you.
Sean's struggling over there. I want to hear what you say.
It's hard here's where the catalog matter. Like her last 2 albums are better than Latifah's best 2 albums. They just are.
They are.
Latifah's influence,
so heavy.
Impact is more. Her voice is loud.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I among the female MCs, I consider, this might be kind of off as an analogy, but I consider Latifah like what Chuck D is to the men. You know what I mean? Heavy influence, you know, major voice, but Chuck is never mentioned with the spitters. You know what I'm saying? And I think Latifah is that for the women in some degrees with the, you know, content that matters and, you know, the songs that lasted the test of time. And, you know, that's how I personally look at Latifah, like, you know, for us men, Chuck D.
And I think that's a great analogy, AG, but Chuck is high on most people's list still who know really rap from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm. True. Yeah.
So we're going to say she clears Latifah. We agree?
Barely. Yes. But yeah.
Barely.
Yeah. I mean, we're at the top. We're at the top of the heap now. So it's like, it's all barely's.
Right.
Yeah.
Foxy Brown.
I can't be this is my bias. When Foxy is my favorite female MC of all time.
Me too. This is objective though.
We look at us agreeing, Coop. This is crazy.
It's hard. It's hard, man.
Right.
Because Foxy.
Terrible. I feel so embarrassed. I feel sorry for our audience. They deserve to be entertained. Pick somebody else.
You can't forget Foxy's feature run, man. Foxy's feature run is not discussed enough. She smoked Jay Boots a couple of times on their collabs, and we don't talk about that enough. She gave Nas a run for his money, AC and Cormega run for their money on some of those features.
She's nasty.
I'm sorry, I love Foxy. I got to pick Foxy barely.
Me too.
Barely.
Foxy over Rapsody,
but Rapsody's on trajectory to pass her. We'll say that.
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like, how about this? I feel like, and see, this is one of those things. I've heard Black Roses, like Foxy's last album before she went deaf, like in 1 year. Like, I've heard that album.
Yeah.
That was probably her best album, and she never got to release it because of her problems. And when I look at the quality of Il Nana and Broken Silence, I don't think it's
I love
better.
Broken Silence.
Broken Silence is her best.
Too, Sean.
Broken
Silence is her best album that got released. Black Roses is her best album.
Yeah.
Like part of the album get released, I still feel Jay had something to do with that because she was talking about what happened on the No Way Out tour and why Jay really left. She told the whole story about that. She had some shit to say about the firm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? She had some shit to say about a lot of niggas on Black Roses, and she was never really the same after that album got shelved, and then she had, you know, the unfortunate things happen. But I'm okay with that, but I'm barely okay with that because, and it's not me being biased because Rapsody is from North Carolina, but it is like, no, like this Eve and this Please Don't Cry, like back to back, even though it's been some years apart, it's not nothing to sneeze at. It's not.
Would you take those two albums over Il Nana and Broken Silence?
I would take the albums, but I wouldn't take the songs.
And that's to your point where you were saying earlier, like it's, you know, a steady play all the way through, but it doesn't have those highs. You know,
think about it, like Foxy had bangers on Broken Silence. Candy with Khalid. Oh yeah, with Spraga Benz, BK Anthem. The first record where she started Give Me Four Letters, C, Dior, Chloe, Boots, B, Chanel, 8-9 Boots. Oh, she was sliding. She was sliding.
She always
the intro
did.
to Broken Silence was crazy.
It was hard.
I mean, in my opinion, she has the second best verse. On the I Shot You remix, she has the second best verse, in my opinion, after Prodigy. She smashed it.
I subscribe to LL having the best verse, but I think when LL gets in situations like that, he just comes for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
he listened to all the verses, and he goes back right after them.
Yeah, but it's Foxy. It's either Foxy or Prodigy for me. But you know, I just want to reiterate your point again, Coop, about the highs on the albums. And this is kind of random with but with Nas, like that's when I'm debating KD3 versus Magic 3. To me, that's the only thing that gives KD3 the edge is, you know, Magic 3 is the straight through player where KD3 has the major highs on it. So, you know, I'm starting to see what you're saying about the Rapsody album. It has some stellar tracks, but they don't come off as really highs, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense. That's a tough one, but yeah.
But yeah, so who you got next, Coop?
Okay, so right now, where we have her is in a tie for third with Eve, based on what y'all are saying. Because for the people we've covered, we got Foxy and Missy ahead of her.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Nicki Minaj.
I'm gonna say yes.
I have to go Nicki. You gotta go Nicki.
It's too big, isn't it? It's too big to win.
Too big to win.
But my rebuttal is I can agree with that, and I won't, you know what I'm saying, give too much pushback. It's just that Nicki goes too pop too often. I know the spitter that she can be, but, you know, it's kind of like what people say with Drake. We know he can spit, but he, you know, sings too much or what have you. So, you know, for what Rapsody brings to the table, I would personally put her over Nicki, but, you know, Nicki's, you know, presence and career is too strong to like legit put her over there. So
It's Queens get the money again.
It's Queens get the money, man. It's too much, man. You'd rather watch Tim Duncan play a game. He's going to be efficient to get you all you need. He's going to win. or do you want to watch the human highlight film? Do you
Kobe.
want to watch
Yeah,
Kobe?
and that's not even being disrespectful because Tim is still the greatest power forward to ever play the game. So
He's one of the best. He's one of the best.
So
Yeah, he's top 10 player all time.
All
absolutely,
time. Not discussed enough.
Yeah.
Not
So
discussed
yeah,
enough.
I can agree,
Top 10
Nikki.
player.
I can agree, Nikki's over her. Yeah.
Okay. So Nikki, Missy, and Foxy. MC Light.
I would personally take Light.
I would personally take Light too, but Light doesn't have 2 albums that's even close to these.
She doesn't, and that
She's more impactful, but it's kind of the Latifah thing over again. That's why I feel like she's the best of Latifah and Light. She's actually because they opened the door for somebody like her. She's actually capitalized on their potential the way that they didn't get to because of how the industry was ran. Like, you used to be a female MC back then. It's like you got 2 or 3 albums and then you need to go the fuck on somewhere.
But hearing thinking about Light and 10% diss and stuff like that, it makes me want to hear Rapsody come out with a diss track on somebody, just to battle, just to see what her chops are like,
This is a top 15 diss. It's a top 15 diss.
Yeah.
It's very disrespectful.
Yeah.
Very.
Hot
But
damn ho, here we go again.
Very.
But if we talk about the projects, then Rapsody definitely got it. I think that's arguably another tie, or Rapsody by a slight margin.
Okay, so it's really about how we feel, because it's Latifah conversation again. It's like the impact is on Light side, the album making is on Rapsody side. Now lyrically, Rapsody's better than Latifah. Is Rapsody lyrically better than Light? Because that would be the tiebreaker. Because I would tell you yes, because of the metaphor play.
She's the updated formula of Light.
She is. That's what I'm saying. She's both of them, and so she kind of clears them to me because she's capitalized on the best of them.
That's fair.
Yes.
That's fair.
And but does that? I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but does that play more into Light's era?
I feel like that's what I'm saying. So it's not totally fair, but the reality of the matter is that Light and Latifah didn't get to make enough records because of how the industry ran to really run a race against when a Rapsody pops up. It's kind of like somebody like it's like, how about this? You understand that like the year that Magic Johnson and Larry Bird got drafted, Bill Russell got named the greatest player who ever lived that year. That was 1979.
Yep.
By the time it was 1995, he wasn't even in most people's top 5 anymore.
Exactly.
Things progress so fast.
Exactly.
Things have progressed so fast. We just went through a list of 25 female MCs. Like, it used to be, we can only have 1, 2, 3 of y'all. Maybe 4. 4 is pushing it, nigga.
It's pushing it.
It's pushing it.
Yeah.
Negroes, be mindful.
It's pushing it.
Okay, there's only 2 left, and that's Lauren and Kim. Is she clearing? Because I feel like both of you are going to say she doesn't clear. Okay.
No, too much. Too much.
So we have her tied for what, 7?
Well, hold on. Well, here's what I would ask you before we get to that. Do y'all have Kim at number 1, or do you have Lauren at number 1? Because I have Kim at number 1 because Kim has classic rap albums as a solo artist.
I got Lauren.
She made classic rap albums after Biggie died, so we can't talk the ghostwriting thing either.
I agree.
She made La Bella Mafia without Big. Notorious Kim is without Big.
I agree.
Yeah. I just got Lauren ahead of Kim just off the strength. I think even if, put it this way, to your point about Lauren earlier, Lauren with her own pen was slapboxing Kim with Biggie's pen. If that makes sense.
No, that's fair. Okay, so but what I would tell you to that is that if we're keeping it funky, well, the only place she beats Kim is her pen, because the impact actually belongs to Lil' Kim.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
Does the album.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hold on, and nothing against Lauren, but Kim ain't no slouch on the mic, and Kim actually has more memorable verses than Lauren, even though Lauren's the better lyricist.
And if we're talking about trees, like people who have kids in the game, Lil' Kim has more kids in the game than Lauren does. You know what I'm saying?
She got more kids in the game than everybody.
She does.
Just about.
If they are all her children, even the grown ones running around acting like they're not.
Yeah, Foxy's my favorite, but objectively Kim's better. But
what I'm saying is that if we're sticking with the criteria and the objectives, how is Lauren clearing Kim other than lyrically? Because she doesn't clear her anywhere else.
She doesn't. Catalog. Kim eclipsed her catalog. I mean,
yeah, we got to be consistent because the same thing that we dock points from Andre 3000 for, like you could say the same thing about Lauren. Just not enough material there to go off of.
Yeah, I can't put Lauren ahead of her. Like if Lauren had a hardcore, I would put her ahead, but she doesn't. So that would be my hesitation.
She doesn't. We got to keep it being, fellas. Like Lauren is more of a hybrid when it comes to that. She's not purely off the hip hop, because if you think about her one and only solo album is heavily R&B. It's a hybrid album.
I think it's considered hip hop, but I'm with you though. It don't have but a few hip hop tracks on there, but it's heavily considered hip hop.
It's really more.
It's a hip hop album, but she only raps on 3 of those tracks.
That's what I'm saying. It's more contemporary than hip hop.
Right.
That's the trick.
It's contemporary. It's actually the beginning of contemporary hip hop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's groundbreaking in that regard.
It's groundbreaking in that regard.
But I don't think it's enough to eclipse Kim.
It's not enough.
It's still just 3 rap records. So Lil Kim, by the time No Time goes off, has rapped as much on hardcore as Lauryn Hill has rapped on the entire Miseducation.
Outside of hardcore, Kim still does have, the Naked Truth and the La Bella Mafia. So I think Kim has 3 classics for me.
I think the Notorious K.I.M. is a great album too.
It is. I don't consider that one classic, but it is a great album.
Right. So we got Kim 1, Lauren 2. Who's at 3, Missy or Foxy, based on what we've been saying?
You know what my vote is.
I got to go Missy, honestly. Missy.
I'm Foxy. Come on, Coop, you the tiebreaker.
Missy's
if I'm being
Missy too versatile.
When I'm making an objective list, I got to just look at what Missy's done to the game,
too much,
what she's done for other artists, what the albums sound like, and it's just
writing.
She's too versatile.
Too much for Fox.
You know me, Fox, I'm gonna try to be controversial. So
Fox is
work this time.
So we got Foxy at 4 then.
Yeah, I can live with that.
Yeah, that was
tough. Hold up, but do we have Foxy? Is Foxy over?
Oh, over Nikki. We forgot about Nikki.
Because you got to give Nikki that respect, man.
No, because for some of the same reasons we put Missy ahead of Foxy, we would have to put Nikki ahead of Foxy.
You have to.
Yeah, Nikki took the game into places it's never been taken before.
Foxy's a better rapper than both of them. We all know that. You know what I'm saying?
But that's just one slider,
That's
right. So Foxy's 5. Yeah, so that puts Eve and Rapsody at a tie for 6, according to us.
And then Light would be a 7, correct?
Yep.
For me, yes.
But look at that, though. Rapsody's not in bad company. Like, this is her 4th album, and we talking about she's 6th, maybe 7th at the worst all time out of female MCs on her 4th album. To me, that's nothing to sneeze at, fellas.
It's nothing.
No, it's not. Here's what I would tell you is that just like we were talking about Common earlier, I think this is one of those moments where not being from the East Coast or the West Coast ends up hurting somebody's all-time placement potentially too, about the opportunities. Because much like I was telling you, like that's why I love Scarface so much. For me, he's done the most with the least of all the great MCs because he's been coming out of Houston, Texas since 1988, 89.
Yep.
So he's definitely done the most with the least. And Rapsody and Common have been faced with similar plights, but not as big of a mountain to scale as him, because let's look at who we have ahead of her. We have Missy, who's probably the anomaly of this, but everybody else is from New York. This is all Brooklyn and Queens. You know, hip-hop's Mecca. You get what I'm saying? So when I talk about the East Coast having a home court advantage, you start seeing it reflect when you make accurate and objective lists. Think about this. East Coast, Kim, Light, Eve, Latifah, Foxy, Nikki, Che, Lauren, Bahamadia, Roxanne Shante, Heather B.
She's tied with Eve, and Eve is from Philly, which
That's
is more known. Yeah, more known for spitters than North Carolina. So yeah, that does hurt her.
Yeah. So imagine if she was from Philly, from Brooklyn or Queens, from Jersey, like on the East Coast.
One of the hip hop hubs.
Because everybody that's ahead of her, look at the people that we have ahead of her. Foxy Brown, Nicki Minaj, Missy Elliott, Lauryn Hill, Lil Kim. Missy's from Virginia. But Virginia is kind of like North Carolina's heavy East Coast aesthetic.
But you know what though?
Heavier if you tell them, they say we got a heavier East Coast aesthetic than y'all. I feel like we got better lyricists outside of. Well, no, they got skills too. They got skills and push. I don't even know.
But I tell you what, I like the position that she's in because it does work against her in this respect. But at the same time, like as she continues to progress in this culture, like her and Cole and then the Fontes of the world can say they the ones that put North Carolina on the map and on their back. You know what I mean? To get it looked at as one of the, place for the dopest MCs to come from. So North Carolina's not there yet. But if it ends up getting to that point, then she's one of the main people that you point to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. I think
so. Yeah, I'd rather be the pioneer, like I'm pioneering this thing for West Virginia, you know what I'm saying, while y'all hating, you know what I mean? So
don't say y'all. That's between you and Sean.
Okay.
All I know is
sorry,
he
cool.
told me. All I know, I'm not trying to instigate. He just told me that he's not sure if your Wi-Fi works in West Virginia. I'm not instigating at all.
Sorry, cool. Hey, my picture looks crispier than Sean's. I don't know what Sean talking about.
I mean,
maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
I'm close to the water, man. I'm close to the water.
So she's right outside the top 5, and we've pretty much surmised that the only people that she can jump and hurdle into this argument would be another great album or a string of guest runs. Maybe might prompt her over Eve and Foxy Brown and comfortably place that 5th. But she's probably not going any higher than 5th
because of the impact is not there.
Because the impact's not there.
Okay. So with all of that being said, J. Cole better make album of the fucking year because she just put herself in all-time territory with all-time great people. Her last 2 albums have been stellar and nothing short of. So I'm not even sure if he doesn't do what he's supposed to do. I'm not sure if he's the best MC in North Carolina right now. Because you're as good as what your record and your fucking reputation says it is. And I told you, as much as I may love this feature run, as epic as this feature run has been, it's been one of the better feature runs in rap history. If we're really being honest with ourselves, you were judged especially when you're already known to be great. Oh no, you were judged by the quality of albums that you make over here. So you better make album of the year.
If we're being honest, she's closer to the top of the female list than Cole is on the male list of
That's
MCs.
what I mean about when I'm saying he better make album of the fucking year.
Yeah.
Because she actually has made 2 album of the year, in my opinion, 1 year, and now a verified album of the year contender. Game time pressure's on. Like right now, all that other shit at the end of the day, the beef thing, the bound down. Like I said, they like when I went on Rap Roundtable and talked to Jarv and Sin and Beanie and Mace, I was like, this nigga need to make Only Built for Cuban Links.
He ain't got
or Quemini or Reasonable Doubt. He better go find that shit.
I don't think it'll matter. If he makes one of those, I don't think he really bumps up that many slots, really.
If R. Kelly can be a nasty bastard and Chocolate Factory fix it for 3 years, yes, we can.
We're not doing this. We're not doing this again, Coop. You remember last time what happened when you brought up Chocolate Factory? We try not to get canceled, bro.
Yeah,
I told you that this nigga better step in the name of love this year.
You better.
Sean,
no trap music neither.
When we are having our year-end roundup, I do not want to be talking about a J. Cole album being the second best album to come out of the state. And I do not want to hear about him having the second best mic performance in the state either.
Okay, let's say he does release the best album of the year and the best mic performance. Where does his all-time ranking go? Because that's the conversations that we having with the Drakes, the Kendricks, and the Coles of the world. He's still not moving past either one of them.
He's not.
He's not moving past one of them. He's not passing either one of them, but he can elevate this era by placing himself in the top 20. He can elevate his era still.
I don't think he can do it, Coop. I think
that's a fair goal. That's a fair goal to have.
If you could produce 3 top 20 all time from one era, that validates the era.
I agree. I don't disagree. I just don't think he have it in.
Because part of what's invalidating this era is that it's like one and a possible two. We got two. Ooh, that's so fucking cute when we're used to having 4 or 5.
Right.
Cool.
And I
if a tree
think
falls in a forest, who hears it?
well, I think personally, Kendrick and Drake were elevated on my list because of the battle. You know what I mean? But I think Cole is either staying where he's at or he can't move up very high. You know, he dropped on a lot of people's lists because of the apology. And that's not even don't have nothing to do with his art, right? So if he comes out with a dope album, let's not say dope, let's say he comes out with a classic. I don't think it'll be enough to leapfrog the people of his own era, more or less leapfrog somebody else from an era that's a bygone era that we hold above Cole. So I don't want to say it'll be for nothing, but because I want a classic album as well. But how many spots is he really moving if he puts out a classic? 1, 2 at the most?
No, I can see him hurt because of this feature run. Because of the feature run, and because a lot of his earlier albums, although not classic, are holding up well. It's not like he has a bad catalog, guys.
No, he has a good catalog.
He doesn't have a bad
very
catalog.
good catalog. This is a very good catalog that we are talking about.
Very good catalog. I agree with that.
But we're just being objective, folks, because Cole is my favorite out of the three.
Your catalog doesn't become masterful to me until you have at least 2 classics that we can speak on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so he can't change his thing, because here's the thing. It's like, how about this? How can you have him ahead of Cool G Rap? Cool G Rap has 2, maybe 3 rap classics. How can you? Like, how can you, like realistically, how can you do it? How
the
can you put
impact conversation gets tricky?
Yeah, I understand that, but that's just a piece of the puzzle. But he's not winning the album conversation against Cool G Rap yet.
No, he's not. He's not.
He doesn't have a Live and Let Die and a Wanted Dead or Alive, which were released back to back, by the way.
And AG, I think the element, the chamber that he could go into, he can no longer go into. He can't speak.
That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing.
Like, hold on. Can he jump over somebody like a Method Man with an all-time great album? Possibly. Is it possible? You all tell me. Can he jump a Pusha T with a all-time great album? Like, I'm asking y'all now.
To me, I already had him ahead of Pusha.
I don't
have him ahead of Pusha.
I think it's close. But I'm not mad at y'all saying y'all got Pusha ahead. But because Pusha has the benefit of having classes with a group and as a solo artist, so I can see giving him the edge. But
why Ghost and Ray are so high? I really don't care. It's not fair.
Right.
It sucks. Make better albums. Albums. There are guys ahead of Ghost and ahead of Ray.
Method Man was actually a good example, but I couldn't put him over Meth personally.
Here's the thing.
I mean, but objectively,
he had his trajectory would have put him up there. But until, like Coop said, until he releases, we cannot identify a legitimate classic album from Cole right now. We can't say this is unanimous.
We can't, but this era will tell you different. They swear by 2014.
I haven't.
No,
I haven't heard it.
I'll give him that. That's still one.
Yeah, it's only
not
one.
Enough.
Yeah. And that's not even my favorite. Born Center is my personal favorite.
It's not enough.
No. In a lot of ways, Born Center plays better in terms of something you can ride to. That's probably why you feel that way.
What would y'all say about Jadakiss? Because Jadakiss is in my top 5, but objectively, I know he doesn't have a classic album himself. So do you think, because of Cole's impact, do you think he's ahead of Jada?
No, not at all.
So I don't have him ahead of a Jadakiss or a Method Man yet. But an all-time great album or a classic rap album, now we can start having a discussion, because like I told, when all of this started, I said, oh, well, he has the most to gain and he has the most to lose, because had he engaged in this and won this, he would have put himself ahead of the both of them, which would have honored him into top 15 status.
Here's the adult conversation.
He missed an opportunity at top 15 status to be friendly.
And his task was easier than Drake's, because all he had to do was try to take out Kendrick. Drake had to take out like 20 people.
Friendly. I'm about to run around Philly like Rocky and have Meek Mill record it for me, and then we're gonna flick it up for the gram.
I don't have him over Game. I struggle putting him over. Honestly, I would struggle putting him over Styles P.
With Beanie Siegel sitting at the top of the steps, I'm going Rocky on these niggas if you're telling me I can make top 15.
Yeah.
I'm drinking
Who'd you
eggs
say?
out the blender. I'm drinking eggs out the glass raw.
Who'd you say? Sean, you said you don't have him over Styles P.
I have a
You
hard
cut out for a little bit.
time putting him over Styles. I have a hard time putting him over Styles P.
Okay.
And we keep if I'm putting these guys in tierings, I will put Cole maybe in that third tiering. And that third tiering is a good tiering because I think in that third tiering you have a Styles, you have a Beanie, you have a Game. I think you can put somewhat. I will honestly probably place him in that third tiering with that third tier group.
Now, to
That's
be
it.
clear, you have Drake and Kendrick in the second.
I'll put Drake and Kendrick in that second.
Now, I think you have him properly placed. I think he's properly placed.
He's in that third tiering. That third tiering is a good group still. That's a good group where
Mhm.
they probably don't have the longevity, but they probably had the pockets where they were probably one of the best in their profession. If you think about Styles P catalog is not a bad catalog. He has
He has
actually
a classic.
he has a
He has-
classic. He has a strong catalog. Rap bar for bar, Styles P to me is better than J. Cole. I think Cole may have more body when it comes to an actual album, but it's not by a large margin.
Yeah.
Because you go back and listen to Gangsta and the Gentleman, Styles P is checking a lot of boxes on Gangsta and the Gentleman.
Mhm.
A lot of boxes.
So Sean, what I would rebuttal with you on that is that's why I feel like Cole's feature run was so important to me because for people like Styles, who I felt like had comparable album catalogs, well, now I can tell you, well, Cole makes better, more well-rounded songs, and he makes bigger songs. And so lyrically, what he just did on this feature run was catapult himself over people like Styles to me. But I feel like that next tier is the Method Man, Jadakiss type of conversation. And it's like, and I'm not saying that he hurdles Meth because of all the Wu-Tang contributions. His contribution might be the best fucking contribution if we're talking about somebody coming from a group and what the classic stuff sounds like. Because if you go to their classic songs, guess who's almost on all of them?
He's on them.
Yeah.
He's on them.
Yeah.
He has timeless songs.
And Method's feature catalog is better than Cole's feature catalog.
His feature catalog.
First of all, his feature catalog, in my opinion, is better than everybody else's. He has the best feature catalog, actually. Because nobody's on more classic rap albums than Method Man, I'm pretty certain. Like the Wu stuff. He's the only guest rapper on Ready to Die, people. Hello.
Yeah, and he gave Big that work.
Put that work in.
Come on.
He did. But
even his hook game on some of these joints.
He's on Ready to Die.
A classic.
Ready to Die is not the thing about Meth that makes Meth so special. I hate the sidebar, like, you know what I mean? But just on some rap shit, what makes Meth so special is that there are truly albums that are classic without him, but he elevates the status of those classic albums with his songs. The what gives Ready to Die an extra jump on the classic scale.
Is the what?
The hook, the ice cream, and the hook in the verse on Wu Gambino's give the Purple Tape an extra jump at the end. I tell people it's the best second half of a rap album in rap history because Method Man helped close the album out.
Yeah, Liquid Swords ain't the same without shadowboxing.
It's not
break it down to the bone bristle. Hill speed and Scud missiles. He see Johnny blazing.
It's different. But I think to Sean's point, even if you're in that third tier or about to crack that second tier, it's crowded down there, right? You know, so it's really you have to parse it out, like what makes each MC get the slight edge over the next one.
Right.
So
it's still a good collective because you still may have. Think about this: would you put him over 50 Cent?
That's tough, you know. And
that's one of those conversations you can potentially start having. He's not in those conversations, I don't think yet, and he hurt his stock by doing that. I'm not saying he gets elevated above them, but now it becomes conversational. It becomes the shit that you rap about, and now it's like, hold on, like if you feel that way with after this album, name me 20 MCs better than J. Cole. Then, like he can have that conversation then.
Well, it all depends on how stuff's weighted. Like if you take a course or whatever, certain grades are weighted more than others. It all depends on what we're talking about. Because I would say Pun is in that third tier, but Pun has a definitive classic album. Well, I wouldn't say definitive classic, but a widely regarded classic album in Capital Punishment. But people would say he doesn't have enough material in his discography. But Cole does have an extensive discography. But it all depends on how you weight and things. You know what I'm saying? So,
but if he had but if he had an album that rivaled Capital Punishment
there
or
you
was
go.
better than Capital Punishment, guess what?
Yeah.
He gets to leapfrog pun, and it's really not without much of an explanation. The fact that we are having to explain if he's better than Big Pun or not because of Capital Punishment is the problem that I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he has
made 2 albums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't confuse.
And they don't sound like Ready to Die or Life After Death.
I don't think he has a Cool or what's Cool is Lupe's second joint, and then the first joint, I don't know why, Escaping Food and Liquor. Yeah.
Food and Liquor.
I don't think Forest Hills Drive is better than either one of those.
No,
I agree, because I think the Cool is on Midnight Marauders level.
It's close.
It's up.
Close.
It's up
But
there.
since we have an album talk, Coop, I know you got to slide in a little bit. Y'all ready? Sean, you want to transition to the next one?
Let me say this last piece.
Okay, good.
Because I want people to think that, because some of you are going to watch this after the fact, and we're not going to be live, but we're not shitting on Cole at all. What we're saying is, don't confuse where he's at right now versus the trajectory. The trajectory, we know what he can get to. That's what we're saying. Get to that trajectory that we know you can get to, but don't forget where you are right now. That's all I'm gonna say. So let's get into this. Now we're talking about these albums. Let's get into this Apple this Apple nonsense. And they're trying to justify. Anytime you have to justify your your list, you're losing already. So let's get into that, Coop, before Coop get out of here. Where y'all want to start, man? I don't even know where y'all want to start.
Before we did we lose Coop?
No, I'm here. 2 seconds.
Coop.
Okay. Okay.
Let me post that's the top 10 right there, guys.
Right. But before we get into the order of the list, I think it's a bigger discussion to be had, and we don't have to go down this, rabbit hole or whatever. But what I want to point out, a lot of times when lists like this are formed by major platforms, right, they usually miss the mark because of 2 reasons. One or the other, usually. In previous times, it's been because they never gave the proper acknowledgement to hip hop or, artists of the Black culture, hip hop and R&B, right?
Right.
So that's one of the problems in, previous years. But I went through this list and I kind of broke it down. And what I did find on here, that out of the 100 placements, you got 43 placements that are for Black artists or groups, or people of color. So that's, close to half of the list. So they did better in that regard. So I want to, start with love, right?
Okay. And
out of those 43 placements, 21 of those are hip hop placements. And I think in previous times, big corporations, they kind of didn't consider hip hop one of the major music art forms. I think they disregarded it. I think that they discredited it, just from a lyrical standpoint. I think we're the best music art form it is, because 16 bars, I'm not talking about the watered down stuff, but writing 16 bars, a 16-bar verse lyric wise is more that has to be put into that as far as meat and potatoes of a song versus a sung song. You know what I mean? Because you got these small verses, a bridge, a hook, a refrain. And granted, you have to, it might be a lot that goes into writing those lyrics, but the time and the effort and the care it takes into writing 2 to 3 16-bar verses or bar, more than that, then plus a hook, people of our culture are writers. And I think a lot of these publications are just now getting around to the point where they're acknowledging our culture as such. You know what I mean? And even the producers, I consider an MPC damn near an instrument. You know what I mean? But I think they try to discredit us on that end because of hip hop is formatted on the basis of sampling from other classic records to form our sound. So I think in the past they kind of, didn't give us our praise, but now hip hop is undeniable. It's the highest selling genre. So I think with 21 hip hop placements, which is 21% of the list, I think they did okay in that regard. Here's where it gets Here's where they mess up. Here's where they mess up, in my opinion. Out of those placements, it's like coming from the perspective of a casual fan that's out of touch, because the placements that you did pick, some deserve to be there, some don't. It's a lot of glaring omissions, but the ones that do deserve to be on the list are not properly ranked. Because if you take those albums out of this all-time 100 album list and place it with our own genre, you got songs that's making top 10 of all genres that's not even top 10 within our personal genre of hip-hop, which is kind of crazy to think. So that just lets me know that a lot of these platforms are out of touch with what some albums mean to the culture. And that's what I'll say about it. I'll let you go ahead, Coop, because I know you limited on time.
I ain't giving them none of that.
I mean, we still got another 40 minutes. I'm fine. So if you got more you want to share, like, please do.
Okay, no, that's just what I was alluding to. You know,
grace.
But the placements are egregious because, like I said, you got albums in the top 10 of all albums, all genres of all time. That's not even top 10 within our own confinements of rap and hip hop. So that just tells me that you're out of touch, you know?
Man, you're giving them too much grace.
Go ahead, cook them then.
I'll say, Sean, do you have something you'd like to say?
I want to show this to Coop first, and then I get in where I fit in, because again, this is their rubric that they utilize.
Challenge to not vote for our favorites.
Oh, this is my first time seeing this.
Representing a cultural moment for the artist or genre. No shit. Albums that were complete thoughts, not just collections of hit songs. First of all, what the fuck is Thriller and Purple Rain? Those are collections of fucking
Thank
hits.
You. That's why I wanted y'all to see this.
Put that at 3 and 4.
They don't know doing your soliloquy, but I want y'all to see this.
That thoroughly represent culture and production and lyrics.
Yeah, nah.
Shit.
Nah.
It's an album. There's beats.
No.
There's rhymes.
Nah, this is my
generation who want to create. Bring that back up.
This is my pause. That sound crazy.
That was crazy. That was crazy.
Yo,
albums that represent the best in storytelling, musicianship, recording, and production. Albums that are timeless and reach far beyond.
And Illmatic is 39.
Far beyond mean? What does far beyond mean? Yo,
that's what I'm saying. You say all of those things, but yet we here.
Yeah. And that, that's my first time seeing the rubric. And I know we're going to get to number one, but I'm going to just put this out there. I love Lauren. We just talked about Lauren. That being number one over Thriller, I think it was for the optics of it, because they did a ceremony where they presented her with an award. Yeah. And, they had a little banquet deal. And MJ's no longer here with us. So I think putting the Miseducation at number one was more so the optics to have a champion.
Grace, man. They ain't got nothing to do with it. You give them too much grace, man. You give way too much grace.
Thriller and Purple Rain.
Purple Rain should be 2.
Thriller and Purple Rain are just a collection of fucking nonstop hits. It's a hit fucking factory.
On both albums.
It's a hit factory.
Do you understand?
Where's Off the Wall?
You understand that both of those albums produced 4 or 5 top 10 songs from the album?
Yeah. I'll tell you why Off the Wall's not on there, Sean. Like, those platforms that I'm talking about don't value Off the Wall like Black culture values Off the Wall.
Man,
they're out of touch.
Off the Wall.
They're tone deaf.
Buy Off the Wall though. AG, you're giving them too much grace. Black culture wasn't buying Off the Wall like that. Off the Wall don't go diamond without them.
That's true. No, that's true.
Give them that grace. Stop playing with these guys.
So
come on, man.
What I'd like to do before I start speaking is I actually want to shout out. I want to shout out my dear friend Andrew. Andrew working behind the scenes, and Andrew from Mirror Music, same guy. Yeah, Andrew's part of the Hip Hop Talks teams. When AG is talking about Andrew earlier, he's talking about the homie Andrew that I've been talking about and doing Mirror Music with for years. We're all a family here. Shout out to Andrew. Because of Andrew, I knew a good bit of these albums on the list that didn't belong in the hip hop and R&B genre. As in, at least 30 of them I am acquainted with, more familiar in a more with a higher familiarity, or just acquainted with in general, because of Andrew. And so I'm about to speak to everything I'm going to speak from the other side of the coin the best that I can. But I do want to start off by saying this. For us in the Black community that may feel like that this list failed you, do not feel bad. You see, this list is bad all around because it failed white people too. That's the only saving grace. This album is failing white people too, is what I realized. Andrew and I had a whole conversation today. Let me tell you something. The biggest problem, yes, right, it's failed white people too. They're equal opportunity haters over there at Apple Music.
Oh, man.
Everybody's catching a fade, apparently.
Everybody.
Listen to me very carefully when I say this. The most egregious thing that actually happened with this list is that the best album that the best rock band who ever lived ever made didn't make this list. Sgt. Pepper's by the Beatles is their best piece of work.
Yeah.
Listen to what I'm saying. Damn a genre, it's one of the 10 best albums I've ever heard in my life. Mm-hmm. And it's not even fucking conversational. That it's
nowhere to be found.
Heard in my life.
Yeah.
So the fact that Abbey Road is at number 3, I believe. Hold on, where do I have it? Abbey Road at number 3. When that's probably their 3rd or 4th best album at best, as in Sgt. Pepper's and Revolver are both like. This is for people who love the Beatles. They'll tell you this. Like Andrew will pull up and tell you this. Like Abbey Road is probably their 3rd or 4th best album on a good day. So the fact that Sgt. Pepper's isn't sitting in number 3 and didn't even make this list is actually the most egregious thing about this list. So I want to be clear about that, even though this is Hip Hop Talks. So I just want our people to understand, they don't know what the fuck they're doing across the board, apparently. It's cross-generational fuck up. Cross-race fuck up. Just fucking up. Okay? Right.
All over.
Now I'm going to bring up some albums that I know don't belong because I don't know everything about pop culture music and dance music and techno music. There are about 25 to 30 of these albums that I'm not as acquainted with like I should be. But I'm going to bring up some albums that I feel like should not belong on this list because I have a list after that of albums that should belong on this list, or at least potentially. Astro World by Travis Scott doesn't belong on this list.
Agreed.
Neither does Flower Boy by Tyler.
Agreed.
Marshall Mathers LP.
Agreed.
Voodoo by D'Angelo.
No.
Doesn't belong on this list.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Paul's Boutique by the Beastie Boys doesn't belong on this list.
No.
I'm going to be fair here. This is for all you Kendrick fans who are the worst fucking fans in the history of rap fans. You're the Dallas Cowboys of rap fans. Take Care by Drake doesn't belong on this list.
It doesn't.
No. Not that one.
The Blueprint doesn't belong on this list either.
Hold on. I don't think Drake has a album period that belongs on the top 100 album of all time list. Sean.
Me neither.
No, not at all.
The Blueprint doesn't belong on this list. It doesn't. It might be borderline, but it doesn't belong on this list.
I would say low, but I'd say it still belongs.
Yeah.
I don't think so because but you can replace it reasonable doubt, which is what the fuck you should have done. But okay.
Yeah.
For what it means to James.
Based on their rubric, it should have reasonable doubt should have been here over Blueprint.
Second biggest tragedy, and I'm just making sure I didn't miss this. Is Off the Wall by Michael Jackson on this list?
No.
That's what I was asking. It's not on the list.
It needs to be there.
It's not on the list. But AG
so y'all made a top 100 album list.
AG said because we bought.
Hold on. Listen to what I'm about to say. This is what I mean. They're equal opportunity fuck ups on a day like today. So y'all took white people's favorite album and left it off the list? And then y'all took black people's favorite album and took it off the list too? You don't know anything.
I think Bad deserves to be on the list, if I'm being honest.
No, absolutely.
Over Off the Wall.
No, that has like hits left or right. But not over Off the Wall. No, not over that. But I mean, I still think it's one of the top 100 albums ever.
I don't agree with that.
But
I'd also probably put 5 Prince albums in the top 100 if I could. So you can't trust me.
I think Janet has about 3 or 4 that should be in here. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Sure you got to go across all genres, so you got to be very careful.
That's true.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, it's tough to go across all the genres. And I feel like a Prayer from Madonna shouldn't be there. Now, some of these albums that I feel like they shouldn't be there isn't because the albums aren't good enough to be considered. It's because they picked the wrong album from the artist, in my opinion.
Right. Because you're blending the genres right now to make a list.
You're blending the genres, so pick the best album.
Am I correct? Real quick, Coop, is I think Beyonce and Prince are the only people that have 2 placements. Correct?
No, the Beatles have 2 placements because they have Abbey Road at 3 and Revolver at 22, I believe. Okay. Let me see who else had 2 placements.
If they're picking 2 for Prince, they got those right. Who was signed at the time?
They picked his 2 best albums. They picked his 2 best albums. We're going to get to talk about like where they place things in a moment. So here, so the omissions from this list, because those are the ones that I feel like don't belong, like for certain. And there are probably some more that don't belong. I just need to get acquainted with those records. And this list is actually making me want to get acquainted with those records. So probably about to, because I really do listen to everything. Omissions are obviously Off the Wall. That would be the biggest omission on this side. Sgt. Pepper's and Off the Wall. You understand that Sgt. Pepper's and like the whole name of the album is a fake band name that Paul McCartney made up because they were so famous they literally couldn't even walk out their fucking front door without being mobbed by thousands of crazy white people. It's an album about them acting under a whole band name. The musicianship is flawless. John Lennon and Paul McCartney are 2 of the best musicians and songwriters who ever lived. This is the album where they do their Ray and Ghost shit. This is their Ray and Ghost album. This is their Purple tape.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it is rock music's equivalent to the Purple tape, the way John Lennon and Paul McCartney are weaving and dancing. It's the Ray and Ghost of the culture.
Yeah.
It's not even on this list. Yo mama, my mama, and everybody else's mama, when you ask them about Michael Jackson, be like, I love Michael Jackson. Off the Wall Michael Jackson.
Many people consider Off the Wall better than Thriller. So for it to be omitted is like crazy.
It goes almost song for song with Thriller.
It goes song for song.
It can.
It goes song for song.
Song for song with Thriller.
Song for song.
The records on Thriller are just bigger, but quality-wise, they're neck and neck.
Yes. They're more Off the Wall.
Just as big on Off the Wall, though.
Off the Wall and Sign of the Times have the same problem. Purple Rain and Thriller are such big records that everybody can enjoy. Then it's hard to appreciate how truly classic the songs are being made on those 2 respective albums.
But Sign of the Times made the list, and Off the Wall didn't. That's the crazy part.
That's wild because how about this? Like for me, Prince and Michael do have 2 of the 10 greatest albums of all time. They take up 4 of my personal top 10 spaces because I do consider Off the Wall to be a top 10 album, and I consider Sign of the Times to be a top 10 album. Even if you want to put them at 9 and 10, they're there. Those albums are like that.
Well, that speaks to Beyonce's 2 placements because she got on there for Lemonade and then their self-titled Beyonce. Like, I mean, they could have took one of those off and put Off the Wall on there.
Actually, okay, so I didn't put Beyonce on my regular list because I have a star by Beyonce's name and I was going to talk about that. You just want to go there?
Sure, my fault. I didn't mean to throw you off course, man. My bad.
No, you're cool. Well, part of the reason why I have Beyonce start off to the side is because, some people think that this is a, platform that seems to believe that Nas is the greatest MC of all time and thereby we hate Jay and everything Jay does, which totally isn't true.
No, not at all.
We're going to talk about the blueprint in a minute, and it's not that I don't think Jay has a top 100 album. I just feel like in a lot of cases like they did here, they picked the wrong album from the right artist. But in the case of Beyonce, I'm just going to say this objectively as I can. She's the greatest stage performer of this generation. She's an icon. She's a brilliant artist and singer, talented songwriter. She's got a little bit of everything in the bag. But I don't think either one of her albums deserve to be on this list. A Seat at the Table by Solange is better than everything Beyonce has ever made, in my opinion. And that's just what my ears are telling me. I understand how big the records are. I understand how big she is. But I feel like more than anybody else who made this list, whose name is gigantic, she's the one that got the biggest pass because neither one of those albums are My Life or Baduism. You know what I'm saying? Like it's definitely not in no Purple Rain, Off the Wall, Songs in the Key of Life, Interventions, What's Going On territory. It's not even sniffing that level. And so I have a star by her name because I feel like that she did get placed in there because they didn't have a choice but to place her in there because of how big she is. But if you're really doing the top 100 albums, you have to keep your integrity intact and keep it funky. And she does not have any top 100 albums, in my opinion. I'm sorry.
I'm glad you said that, Coop, because I think that was the reason for the Drake placement at 47 would Take Care. Drake's such a big artist of this generation, and for the past 15 years, they said we have to pick a Drake project. to be on here, so he's represented. But Take Care is not a top 100 album all time. It's just not. I consider it a classic, but it's not. It's not a top 100.
It's not even his best album.
Yeah, right. Thank Me Later, and If You're Reading This, It's Almost Too Late are both better to me.
Easy.
You think his first album's better than Take Care? Thank Me Later.
I do. There's something about it that's kind of like nostalgic now at this point.
You're the first person I've ever heard say that. I hear a lot of people put Nothing Was the Same as his best.
No,
that's grown over the years. I mean, if you're reading this, It's Almost Too Late is his best album. Are we all clear on that?
Yeah.
I'm different because I say So Far Gone, and I know that don't count. That's like, it's not an official, you know what I mean? It's a mixtape, but I think so Far Gone is his best work.
Let me get to these omissions. So we have Off the Wall. Death Certificate by Ice Cube, anybody?
Yep.
Criminal.
America's Most Wanted by Ice Cube, maybe?
2 of them. Yep.
Criminal.
How about Supreme Clientele?
Criminal.
How about The Infamous by Mobb Deep?
Yep.
Criminal.
Paid in Full by Eric B. and Rakim, which I feel like is the most egregious one because it's the true top 10 album that they left off the list.
Criminal.
Yep.
It's Dark and Hell is Hot by DMX, anybody?
Criminal.
Yeah.
Criminal.
That needs to be there.
Only Built for Cuban Links.
Criminal.
Raekwon featuring Ghostface Killer and the rest of the motherfucking Wu-Tang Clan with their A-game with the Nas verse sprinkled on top.
Criminal.
Which is arguably better than 36 Chambers, if we're being real.
It is. They're both 2 top 10 rap albums in my opinion, but the Purple Tape.
You gotta be honest about it. It's better than 36 Chambers.
They perfected their formula on the Purple Tape.
Yeah.
They got the Purple
So if
Tape.
36 is there, then Cuban Link has to be there. But they're playing the name recognition game. Like, we can't have a Cuban Link album as a solo Wu member. We got to represent the whole Wu. So the choice is 36 Chambers. They're playing.
I don't give a damn.
That's
what I'm saying. Yeah. Brown Sugar.
I see their angles. I see what they're doing. I'm not giving credence to it. I just see what they're doing.
Did it cash app you?
I wish.
Brown. Look,
I need to holler low.
Look, Brown Sugar by D'Angelo, not Voodoo. Brown Sugar by D'Angelo.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Brown Sugar by D'Angelo belongs on this list.
They put Voodoo.
Instead of Like a Prayer from Madonna, how about Bedtime Stories by Madonna, which is actually her best album from end to end?
Madonna has a lot of great albums. She arguably could have 2 on here.
She has 2 other contenders after that, in my opinion.
I think Madonna could take out anybody in the verses, maybe other than Janet.
I would concur with those sentiments. How about Reasonable Doubt?
Blueprint, yes.
Yeah.
How about The College Dropout?
You have to put a College Dropout on there.
Yeah.
What about Life After Death?
I think they picked the wrong album with Big. I've been saying this. Sean knows this.
In the top 100.
I don't think Ready to Die is like that. I think Life After Death is clearly his better album, but people always put Ready to Die on these lists. And I think Life After Death is the far superior album. Big's far superior as an MC on that record. It checks all the boxes.
Moment of Truth?
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, Moment of Truth could be on here.
What do you think if I told you that the Eminem show is better than the Marshall Mathers LP, and if an Eminem album has to go on here, like a Drake album or a Beyonce album has to come over here, it should actually be the Eminem show?
That's not a hot take. I agree with you. That's my favorite Eminem album. And like I said, out of the 3 of us, I'm probably the biggest Eminem fan, and that's by far his best work.
Okay. So those are the albums that I feel like were omitted that I could just think of. Now, here are the albums that I think are rated too low. And I have it across the board because I've heard all these records now. Hotel California by the Eagles is 99. White people are screaming right now.
I'm going crazy over that one.
White people are screaming.
Yeah.
Right now. They are highly upset that this album is ranked number 99.
West Virginia.
Some of them are probably what Negro came up with this list and got this list wrong. The same way we are standing over here like, what white person came up with this list, got this list wrong.
Yeah.
It's the same thing going on. Doggy Style is 84.
That should be in the top 20.
Let's get it clear. Let's get it very, very clear. Of all the albums that they named on this list, as far as their rap albums that made it, with the exception of Illmatic, Doggy Style's better than all of those albums.
Yeah,
it is.
Doggy Style's better than all of those albums that they named. I don't know what the fuck they're smoking.
The only one I would give you pushback on, Coop, is is 36 Chambers. I think 36
Sounds better than
Chambers.
36. See, for me,
I would, but it's close. It's close. I think 36 Chambers, but they got more. I ain't gonna say properly rated, but they're much higher than Doggy Style is. So we'll put it that way.
Yeah, Get Rich or Die Trying is 82.
It needs to be higher.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Higher.
What are we doing?
That should be higher.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
That shut everything down, man. Like
Baduism is 64. What are we doing?
Yeah,
it changed the course.
Sign of the Times by Prince is 51. What in the fuck?
A lot of people argue Sign of the Times is better than Purple Rain.
In my opinion, it is. That's why I have it as a top 10 album. If I'm doing an objective list, I have Sign of the Times ahead of Purple Rain, but I understand what Purple Rain is.
Yeah.
Purple Rain is accompanied by the
movie. Shouldn't be that much space between the two of them.
It's not. You cannot have one album at 4 and have that other album at 51, but you have Thriller at 3 and don't have Off the Wall at all. You're off the wall. How about that?
That's crazy.
Joshua Tree by U2 is 49.
That's crazy.
That's
crazy.
That's a top 15 album, easy. Probably top 10.
Easy.
Like, I'm going to make a top 100 list, one that makes sense, that white and black people can understand and say, like, you want to know what? That nigga knows what he's talking about. And the black people and the white people will say, it's just the white people will say when they're at home and nobody's around and they're watching hip hop talk. But they're going to be like, this nigga knows what he's talking about.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
I'd like to thank Andrew for that.
Everybody.
Yeah, Joshua Tree at 49 by U2 is wild. That is literally one of the best albums I've ever heard, too. In a lot of ways, I think Nirvana's Nevermind and Sgt. Pepper's are better, but that might be the third best alternative album ever made, in my opinion. Maybe Joni Mitchell's Blue, but we're about to get to that in a second.
It has more legs.
It does have more legs. Exodus by Bob Marley and the Wailers is 46.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
You must have been smoking with Bob Marley to have it at 46. How about that? Did you smoke with Bob? Did it affect your brain in a way that you put that album at 46? Inner Visions by Stevie Wonder is 44.
Oh, Stevie got 2 on the list too. I forgot about Stevie. Yeah.
Inner Visions at 44. That's what I'm saying. The gap between Songs of the Key of Life and Inner Visions ain't no goddamn 38 albums.
Ain't no way.
Right.
Ain't no 38 album difference between Inner Visions and Songs of the Key of Life. That's what makes me feel like people cherry picked on this list and didn't really gravitate towards the music. It's like you picked the music, but you placed it to make everybody else happy. Fuck making everybody else happy. Make the list right.
Yo, I'm tripping. I don't have the whole list in front of me. I just got certain notes. Mariah Carey didn't get no placements on the list, did she?
She did.
She doesn't deserve one. She doesn't have a top 100 album. Whitney didn't make the list either.
She didn't?
Mariah made the list. I think she made the list.
Who, Whitney? For what?
Mariah?
I don't think so.
I think she made the list.
I don't think
so. I don't have the whole list in front of me. I was wondering about Whitney and Mariah because I didn't remember seeing either one of them.
Whitney's first album deserves more consideration than any of Mariah's albums.
That's fair.
And I love Mariah. Emancipation to me is Mimi is a classic to me, but it's not. It's 100 all time. It's all the genres.
You like that better than Emotions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd at 28.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Kind of Blue by Miles Davis at 25. Really? You think there are 24 albums better than Kind of Blue by Miles Davis if we're talking about all genres?
That's where it gets tricky, the all genres part.
Revolver by the Beatles at 21. Even though it's at 21, should probably be higher. Pet Sounds by Beach Boys. This is probably the one that's making white people scream. A lot of American white males feel like Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys is the best album ever made. They have it at 20 on this list.
Oh man,
my bad. The way Coop said it, man. I'm sorry.
They're gonna have a purge about this shit, right? They're like, okay, so here's what we're gonna do.
I feel like they're more on board with the Eagles joint than the Beach Boys joint, but that's
Pet Sounds. No. This Pet Sounds is America's rock response to the Beatles.
That's their Annie-up.
Yeah. No, it's serious. It's serious. You know, I think the most egregious thing that happened to an album on this list is that you put What's Going On by Marvin Gaye at 17.
Yeah. That's top 10 easy.
I think it is the most egregious part of this list because to put 16 albums ahead of what's going on is to say that you don't know what's going on, like musically. Like it's just like that. It's
Cool.
like I don't know if there's 5 albums better than what's going on.
Yeah,
And
it's definitely in running for top 5, but top 10, it not being in the top 10 is egregious. But
it's an easy top.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you talk about picking the wrong albums. Do you think they picked the wrong album for Janet? I do.
Okay, so here's the thing about it. Rhythm Nation and Janet have just as many hits as Control, but the songs are not as timeless as Control. Even if the songs are better, they're not as timeless. What Have You Done For Me Lately is timeless. Control, timeless. Let's Wait a While, timeless. Funny How Time Flies, timeless. She's got her time. The timeless records are on Control. The records for the times are on the other albums. I think she has 4 classics.
Velvet Rope is another classic.
Yeah,
but I feel like all the classics are weighted differently. This is how about this? Control. You can play Control next to Purple Rain and Thriller, as far as like a hit parade,
and it's no drop off.
It's throwing a party. Pleasure Principle.
There's no drop off.
Pleasure Principle.
Think about who's writing.
Janet on the Chair.
Jimmy Jam and Terry.
You got Pete, Jimmy Jam and Terry. You got Pete, Jimmy Jam and Terry. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Classic. Yeah. So I don't know if they got it wrong. What I would tell you is that maybe should have been one of those albums included, possibly. Like for me, I would put Janet in there. Rhythm Nation had 7 top 5 singles, people.
Right. And I think that was at one point the most off of one album. I don't know if it still holds that record, but
I think as far as like record sales and like I think as far as official Billboard charts, it does.
Yeah.
She did that. When was Rhythm Nation? Like fucking 89?
89. Yeah. But I think that to your point, she might be one of the people that deserves 2 placements. Like, over.
I could see that. I could totally see that. I think Blue by Joni Mitchell at 16 is wrong too. I would tell you what, like What's Going On, Revolver, and Joni Mitchell's Blue all need to be bumped up the list.
Yeah. Because they got Frank Ocean Blonde, I think, at 5 or 6.
Well, that brings me, I'm glad you're helping me segue, Sean. Let's get to the albums that don't belong where they belong. Beatles' Abbey Road at number 3 and Frank Ocean's Blonde at number 5.
That's crazy. That is
I think crazy. That Frank Ocean is the Andre 3000 effect. Like where he's not releasing anything, so it's held up so high.
It's his second album. It's his second album. It's better than his first album. Big fucking deal. Yeah. Not number 5. Good Kid, Mad City.
What'd you say, Sean?
You playing games, man.
Nah, I'm just saying I see like what they're doing, and I know, I could read between the lines or whatever. I'm not giving them any credit on it. I'm just reading between the lines of why they do that and why they hold certain things so high. Not saying I agree with them, but I see why they're doing it.
You know why they hold it.
Okay, so Good Kid, Mad City at number 7.
So it's not a top 10 rap album. How's it a top 10 album of all time?
Hold on, let me finish. Like, see, because everybody thinks that I'm hating when I do this, so I'm going to try to do this as carefully as I can. Whoever the hip-hop panelist was that sat in this room in these discussions, I'm not blaming Kendrick for this. I think Good Kid, Mad City is a classic. I think it deserves to be on this list. I truly do. It deserves to be on this list. It is one of the best 100 albums I've ever heard. Whoever allowed this album from the hip-hop community to be placed at number 7 when they know that Illmatic, Into the 36 Chambers, like are on this list. The Low End Theory is on this list. Get Rich or Die Trying and Doggy Style is on this list. That's the point that the hip-hop person in the room should have interceded and been like, yo, like, I love that album, and it's a classic, but we can't do that. That's not the accurate depiction of the hip-hop community.
We know who that person is, though, but...
No, I'm going to be nice.
Y'all killing me tonight. Y'all killing me.
Go ahead, Sean.
You know who he is, too. I'm not even going to say it, but he know what time it is. He knows that Get Rich or Die Trying is better than Get Kid, Mad City. He knows that Doggy Style is better than Good Kid, Mad City. He knows that Illmatic and Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers and It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back are Public Enemy. He knows that Ready to Die is better too.
Yeah. And I don't even hold Ready to Die as high as most people, but it's better than Good Kid, Mad City. That's what I was saying earlier. It's not even a top 10 hip hop album of our own genre.
Look, so the Low End Theory and the Chronic, the Low End Theory and the Chronic are better as well.
Yeah. Like, so when you're putting it across all genres, how is it number 7? When it deserves to be on the list, like you said, Coop. But if it's not a top 10 within our own genre, then that's why I'm saying that they're tone deaf, because whoever's the hip hop representative in that room needs to say, this is not a top 10 album within the hip hop culture. So how in the hell is it going to be a top 10 album across all cultures? Makes zero sense. The math ain't math.
Well, here's the thing about it, AG. This is exactly what has happened with this generation. Okay, so there used to be a time about 1999, 2000, where if you asked me what my top 5 rap albums were all time, I would tell you Ready to Die, Reasonable Doubt, Southern Playlist of Cadillac Music, Illmatic, and Only Built for Cuban Links.
Solid 5.
It's a solid 5. But guess what hadn't happened? First of all, some of those other albums hadn't aged yet. Like It's Dark and Hell is Hot, The Infamous. Mm-hmm. I hadn't listened to stuff end to end multiple times, like The Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick, Criminal Minded, Paid in Full, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, Death Certificate, Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em, America's Most Wanted, Straight Out of Compton. Mm-hmm. The biggest problem with this generation that I have with the way that they elevate Kendrick is because every time I try to talk to this fan base about the classics that came before, they try to downgrade those classics. When I went back and listened to stuff I elevated because I realized what they were doing for the era, I hate to be the get off my lawn guy. The generation that loves Kendrick the way that they do, they don't know their rap shit like they should. And that's why I don't trust them. And that's why I argue with them, because I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But you're not the type of person, like if you were born in 1994 and Good Kid, Mad City came out when you were about 14, 15, it had the same effect on you Illmatic had on me. No, I understand why. But do you understand why fundamentally Illmatic is a better rap album?
I don't think they do. No.
And that's the problem with this generation when it comes to their love for him. They're not fundamentally sound in the teachings of hip hop. That's our fault.
A lot of that they're not going back to do the knowledge, though, to be honest.
They're not. Like the guy, like somebody told me that Rakim's last 2 albums before the 18th Letter wasn't like that. I was like, the album before Don't Sweat the Technique was Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em. Have you not heard Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em?
Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em.
It's literally one of the best mic performances ever recorded, has in a top 5 all-time mic performance.
Easily.
Yeah,
out of that, you don't know that. It's top 3 for me, but the fact that you don't know that. But
yeah, out of that 4-album run, out of that 4-album run, the only one that wasn't up to par was Don't Sweat the Technique. That was the only one.
But that's the thing. It's the fact that they don't know that stuff. I went back and studied that stuff, and you're trying to argue with me and talk about Kendrick. It's like, no, I didn't say that he wasn't great. Do you know how great Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em is, though? Like,
but this is a tangent. But Don't Sweat the Technique is a great album. But it's just because if you put it standing on its own merit, it's a great album. But it's because it came after, all the classics. Kind of like how people felt about Magic 2. Not saying that every album in the Hit Boy run was a classic. If you put Magic 2 on its own, it's a great album. But it had to follow up Magic 1 and KD 3. And then so people didn't value it as much. And I think Don't Sweat the Technique, if you just, as a standalone, it's a great album. But, look at what came before it.
So Good Kid, Mad City is my biggest hip hop problem, because it being placed at 7 means somebody was comfortable walking away with it holding the number 1 position for rap albums that it's not even close to. And if it is close, and this is what I mean by close, or if you're talking about like The Chronic versus Good Kid, Mad City, or we're talking about an album that's probably number 7 or 8 all time versus an album that is like 18, 19, 20 on a good day.
Yeah, it has a bid for top 20, but
It's got a
That's
top
about
20 bid. How about this? Good Kid, Mad City is kind of where we talk about J. Cole's placement in all-time MCs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like
that's
it
a
could
good
be
point.
top 20,
Right.
but I'm pretty. First of all, I can name you 15 better.
Yeah, that's a good point, Coop.
Can name you 15 better. Like, how about this? You think Good Kid, Mad City is better than Moment of Truth? You think it's better than It's Dark and Hell is Hot? Because I don't think it's better than It's Dark and Hell is Hot. I think that's wild if you think that.
No,
they're conversations, but I don't think so. But they're conversations.
That's what I'm saying. So
the conversation weird.
You think Good Kid, Mad City better than? Well, think about this. The Purple Tape and the Infamous didn't make this list. You think Good Kid, Mad City better than the Purple Tape or the Infamous? Nobody who knows rap in and out thinks that. So that person in the room is who I'm going to hold accountable. Only about Good Kid, Mad City, though.
Yeah, that's
because you know that you shouldn't have got that album placed at number 7. Like, you know what you were supposed to do. You let Good Kid, Mad City get placed at number 7, and you let Blueprint be the J album that made it instead of Reasonable Doubt. Foul on the play. Offsides.
But I don't think Reasonable Doubt should even be as high as what Blueprint. I don't think Jay-Z has an album that should be ranked that high all across all genres.
No, but if it was going to be your number 2 rap album, let it be Reasonable Doubt. It's more conversational to do that. It's like, well, that is one of the best rap albums I ever heard. You know what I mean?
This is not rap, but I wanted to ask you, Coop, what you thought. The Amy Winehouse placement. I actually was surprised, but I like that because that's still one of the best albums I've ever heard. You know, it might be ranked a little high, but I think that's a phenomenal album.
How about this? What I think is appropriate for Back to Black. I'm like you too, big Amy Winehouse fan, love her. Think Back to Black is one of the best albums I ever heard. How about this? If you swap out What's Going On at 17,
there you go. Yeah.
And put Back to Black by Amy Winehouse there and put him at 8, I'm way happier with this list because I feel like it's more appropriate. I think Back to Black is one of the best albums I've ever heard, but I think it's closer to being one of the 20 best albums I ever heard, not 10, as opposed to What's Going On, which I can say with pretty much ease, no, I have not heard 10 albums better than that album in my entire life.
Yeah, that's a good swap out.
And people forget What's Going On is a concept album about a Vietnam veteran coming home from war and the things that he is seeing going on in America. People forget about that part. What's Going On is a concept album too. How many R&B artists make concept albums
at a high level at that?
Yeah,
and really the highest level concept album execution in music history, actually.
And really, Illmatic should be where Kendrick is at number 7 if we're talking about across all genres, because it's widely regarded, and we're not just being biased here on our podcast where we think Nas is the GOAT. It's widely regarded as the greatest rap album of all time.
This is what I would say. And I wouldn't put everything they just said on here.
And I wouldn't put it at 7 if I did have Illmatic on there, and Illmatic should be the first rap album named in my opinion. Either that or It Takes a Nation of Millions. I would have it at 9 or 10. I wouldn't even have it at 7.
Well, that's fair, but it's still a top 10. And with that said, so you're not counting Lauren at number 1 as a hip hop album, just to be clear.
No.
Okay.
I feel like that. I feel like that and Brown Sugar by D'Angelo are probably the most important albums in terms of the melding of the hip hop and the R&B culture into like all the many phases of it we see today. So it's trend setting, it's groundbreaking. She's epic, but no. And that's one of those albums too. It's like, how about this? Let's go a step further. Even if you were to swap Marvin Gaye's What's Going On with Lauren and put him at 1 and put her at 8, I would be more okay with that too, because I do find The Miseducation to be a top 20 album. I would put it. How about this? Give me Joni Mitchell's Blue and What's Going On by Marvin Gaye at 1 and 8, maybe. Like Marvin at 1 and Joni at 8, and then give me Lauren and Amy at 16 and 17, and I think that's more appropriate. And give me Sign of the Times instead of Good Kid, Mad City. Push Illmatic in. You know what I'm saying? Like I would freak the list a little different, but I'm about to.
I'm with all those changes, but with that said, Coop, and this question is to both of you. You said you'd have Illmatic at 8 or 9. So are you saying in the top 10 across all genres, Illmatic is the only hip hop album that you think cracks the top 10? Because I think The Chronic or Doggy Style has a pretty strong bid for the top 10. Just the musicality of the of The Chronic. And,
like, how about this? There are 4 rap albums that I feel like should be in the top 50, and that would be Doggy Style, Paid in Full, It Takes the Nations, and Illmatic, because of the songs, the impact, and the quality. All 4 of those albums have those things in different ways. So those would be.
I would say Cuban Link as well.
Yeah, but there's some things with Cuban Link because of the rhetoric. It's never gonna make that. Like, I still think it's the second best rap album I've ever heard. Maybe second or third at worst.
It's second on my list. I only have it second to Illmatic.
Yeah,
me too for the most part. It Takes a Nation of Millions, I guess, as I get a little bit older and I look at some things a little bit differently than I used to, and I don't do some of the things that I used to. I can look at the message that they're putting down on that album, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
They were trying to help. They were trying to help us more than we realized. Like they were rapping to us and having a good time, but they were trying to help us too. Right. I got a slide, fellas.
Good deal, fellas. Good show.
What's up, cool?
We may have to pull up again on this one and really break this one down and do our own list at some point. This, at the end of the day, in closing, this was a tough list to do for anybody because you're combining so many different genres of music and you're trying to come up with a comprehensive list. So everybody's going to shoot through it, but just you can't put the rubric out there and don't follow that own rubric. It just doesn't make any sense because now you're putting your own emotional appeal to it, and there's no logic behind that emotion. But shout out to them for even making an attempt, I guess.
That's what I guess.
I guess. But,
I mean,
it gives us content to talk about. At the end of the day,
absolutely.
Let's do a hip hop talks list. You know what I'm saying? Like I try not to like. This is what I mean. Okay, so. Back to the plagiarism thing. It's like, well, this isn't plagiarizing because we're coming up with our own list.
Yeah,
not taking somebody else's list and making it our own. Now, are we?
Yeah, we shout out to Andrew. We definitely gotta get Andrew in on that.
No. I would love a hip hop talks list because Andrew's involved and he can help, like with the guidance of some of these things. Like even some of the things like the Rage Against the Machine album. It's like, is that Rage's best album? It's like I need to ask Andrew.
Yeah, we may need to do that. Let's do that. Let's record it behind the scenes. And do some outtakes from it. We do like a round table for it.
Yeah. No. We can do like a song. We can do like an album draft where it's like we all come with our list and be like, okay, this is where I have this. Are you okay with this right here? It's like I am for now.
Yeah, we can.
Let's go.
Shit, let's do that. Yeah, we gotta do it soon because they're going to hear this and they might try to do it before us. So
I mean, they're gonna jock our style. I know you like my style. Like how I break it down. Want to get rich? I show you how. Yeah, that's better than Good Kid, Mad City. Okay, gotta go.
Yeah, Get Rich is one of them ones.
Yeah, Get Rich is special.
No Peace, fellas.
Peace and love, guys.
No doubt.
All right, I literally